I had not read any of the Game of Thrones books. This goes back about, I'm going to say about 6 years. And I had kind of a thing where I said to myself, probably don't want to read these things because, I tried to read Robert Jordan and I couldn't read any of those books. And so I thought probably these are
Dick.
Last time on
Revisiting Eye of the World.
I didn't really feel the urge to keep reading, and then I just read other stuff. So
everybody in Randland and beyond is afraid of the dragon. Whoa.
So smooth.
Okay, don't say anything. 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 All right.
Nope. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. Is there anything? Any comment?
Dreams mean a lot. We'll just
question:
say that.
Are dreams important?
Dreams are important.
Read and find out.
Read and find out. Okay.
I think dreams are dreams. Pay attention to dreams. Just pay attention to dreams.
The Children of the Light,
AKA the White Cloaks.
The White Cloaks are a bunch of dicks. Like they're just they're a bunch of assholes. And,
See, I told you.
Should have been banned from Reddit.
They should.
They got what they deserved.
Unsubscribe. Unsubscribe.
They got what they deserved.
and now the continuation.
You like that intro? I thought the intro was epic as shit. So what's up, everybody? Welcome to another chapter of Nerdporeal It Reads. And this time I'm once again bringing everybody back to discuss Eye of the World. And so, but before I even get into that, I want to make an announcement. So basically, like I said earlier, if a lot of people have not subscribed that watch my videos, so please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. That would really help me with the algorithm. And I made some emojis as an incentive for people to join the Nerdporeal Continuum. What's the Nerdporeal Continuum? Well, that's basically my membership. I just stole from Star Trek and added that. And basically that's why I call them my members. I call them Continuum members and everything. So. Just want to bring in one of the guests to explain why it's a good idea to join Nerdporeal Continuum. What's up, Steve?
Hey, why should you join the Nerdporeal Continuum? Well, for one, I have to say, as soon as I hit that join button, I felt like more of a man. I felt better inside. I felt like I had done something good and pure and right. And then a few days later, I started knowing things that I didn't know before, and it's like I unlocked this whole new world of knowledge just from becoming a member to Nerdporeal Stream. And it's the greatest thing. I think it's the best thing I've ever done in my whole life, including my children. Right? Come here. Why should you join the compendium? Because Nerdporeal Continuum. Because it made me a better guy, didn't it? I'm a more caring father now.
Yeah.
See, he said confirmed. He said it. I'm better at video games now. I beat Final Fantasy VII just because I joined the Nerdporeal's channel, And I'm telling you, it will change your life. You'll actually be able to tell the future too, like Miss Cleo. See, there you go. See, Tatsu, you are a smart man or woman. I'm sorry if I gendered you. You are a smart anime ninja guy. Well done.
Welcome.
Do you feel like a better being on this planet? I think you should, because I know I do. So, good decision. Good decision. Now go join and become a dragon sword too. Then you'll just be like a god. But so what do you think? Is that pretty good? We there? Did I sell you?
Yeah. I'm really. I kind of. It's not the drink that did this. I just broke because of your thing. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. Well, everybody. So I'm going to bring everybody else, and that was pretty great. Subscribe
Love
on
it.
the alt. LOL.
There it is.
Thank you. Nice. So let's bring in. I'm going to bring in Pips. What's up, Pips?
Sorry, that was poor timing of the kind of fade in shot there. But ultimately, drinking is well, you know what? It's not more important. Nerdporeal is a great dude. You should absolutely join, subscribe, share his channel, all that other stuff. Unlike Steve, who's a shill, I don't actually get a kickback. Someone said 15% from repping for the Nerdporeal Continuum. I don't actually get a kickback. Apparently, I need to talk to my lawyer. Better call Saul and figure out what's going on with my contract over here. With
I did get a kickback. That's just the natural what happens when you join. You feel enlightened.
But hey, yeah, thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure. And man, really, the White Cloaks official is just calling me out on not drinking enough. Okay, you know what? Fine, I'm gonna have to get good and sauced on this, just so everyone can witness it, be confident. True stuff is happening here on Nerdporeal's channel. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem. No problem. Thanks for being here, man. And I want to bring up another guy. Actually, I'll bring up my special guest because I don't want to make the same mistake twice. So let's bring in my special guest, Lady Balefire. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I was doing very Two Rivers today, and I went and cleared out my summer garden and getting ready for the winter garden. So I was definitely in the Two Rivers mindset today. Very excited to talk about the book because it's just so freaking depressing to talk about the show all the time.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've only seen a little bit, and
hey, we're finally done. We finished it, right, Lady B? We finished it.
Yes.
We made
last
it through
time
it.
was awesome, and we all got totally hammered last night. It was great.
Yeah, we made it through.
all right. And we got one last guest, last but most certainly not least, and he's drinking again. All right, he's still drinking.
Oh,
Invisible Man. He's in the green room. Got it. Hey,
What's up?
good for you.
I was trying to have you put me on while I was drinking, and I was holding the glass to my mouth.
I'm just holding
Nathan's
it
gonna
there.
fall over now because he's drank 2 bottles trying to get on
That's
camera.
right.
Hey,
I mean, this
you know
thing
what?
is, just it's only 12% bottle of mead, but that's all right.
So how you doing, Nathan? How's your Sunday been?
Oh, my Sunday's been great, man. Just living the dream, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that screenshot of the royalty check that Steve's getting after that intro. I mean, holy crap!
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
It's
It's just
true.
it's
That's
just
true.
he's
Well,
yeah.
you're getting members, and it has nothing to do with me. So that's I'm just I'm just some schmuck. You got
And-
great content that sells itself.
That's true. I will say though, watching that intro, I realized I'm wearing the same shirt.
Nice.
You haven't changed since 2
You
for
haven't
2
changed.
weeks.
It's my lucky shirt. The show went so well, I haven't changed
There
at
you go.
all.
There you go.
And
So
just everybody thinks I smell kind of funky.
Your wardrobe department is the same one from the Wheel of Prime. Then you just have the same shirt for months and months. It just never changes.
Yeah, I mean, the only difference is at least I know I can talk some sense.
True. That's true.
But yeah. So maybe I'll accidentally forget what shirt I wore, and I'll wear this for the third episode as well. We'll see.
Oh, thanks for subscribing, White Cloaks. Here's to you. And because you subscribed, I have to do what I usually do whenever somebody subscribes to me. Let me see if I can find it.
How is our official channel not subscribed to you yet? That
I
seems like an
know,
oversight.
right? It's like Alex.
I don't-
Alex
Whoever-
did
Did you
that.
welcome? Did you welcome
Whoever
your
the
new member?
manager, whoever the
Sir?
manager of that is, yeah.
No, all kidding
Comment.
aside, did you welcome your new member? Because you did actually get a new member that had nothing to do with me.
I
He's just
did.
made it-
I
made a great
welcomed
choice.
Tatsu-sama. Yeah, Tatsu-sama.
All right.
And Tatsu-sama left a super sticker for 95 CHF. I forget what that is. That's CHF.
It
Yeah,
was
whatever.
red for a second. I thought you got $100. I was gonna be like, whoa.
Yeah. No, I would never expect that. So
No, me either. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So there we go.
Hey, Zax.
What's up, Zax?
Hey, Zax is here.
And where
There's
is that?
Zax.
All right. Here's what I usually play for people. Got it. Shit.
Yes, yes, the signal is
That's
back.
all you get.
I swear, if you ever show your face out there again, I mean, ever, ever.
Welcome.
The signal has returned. I'm
right.
so excited.
I gotta
Yeah,
ask,
it
what is
was
the story
transmission.
behind playing that as your new member or sub kind of
Mike
clip?
Ehrmantraut. Come on.
Been doing
Go ahead,
that.
Nerdporeal.
Yeah.
Explain
doing
away.
that, so yeah, I've been doing that. It's because Mike Ehrmantraut's Mike. I'm a fanboy of Mike Ehrmantraut.
Major
And that was
player
young
in,
Mike. That was young Mike, and I was getting a transmission.
It
It wasn't jammed like last week. Last week it was totally jammed.
Yeah.
Given the raspberry, and
Mike,
I couldn't. Nothing got through.
So older Mike. That's not his name, but an older that guy, the guy that hit Axel. He's a big character in Better Call Saul. So we had a lot of good things to say about him in Better Call Saul. So from those streams, it sort of it showed up.
A
because
lot
we
less
talked
hair.
about him.
And he actually doesn't smack anybody like he always does. So that's the one thing.
Yep.
He probably said, "Please don't have me smack anybody in Better Call Saul."
Yeah. So yeah, that's where that is birthed. Better Call Saul live stream. So
Got it.
All right. So, Well, so last time we talked about the first 18 chapters. So we went all the way from beginning of the story with the Kinslayer, Luce Theron, all the way to we meet Rand, we meet Matt, we meet Perrin, and the rest of the Emmons Fielders. We find out that they're being stalked by a guy in a black cloak. Murderal. Ultimately, they get attacked. Those three families get attacked by Trollocs, and his Rand's father gets wounded, and then they have to the Aes Sedai Moraine has to heals him with an angriel, whatever they call it. And then after that, they flee. They flee north. They get past the Terran Ferry. They go through the wilderness. They get to Burlon. I'm sure I'm skipping a whole bunch of shit right now. And they get into a little. They get a little bit of a. They get into a little bit of a scuffle with. They get into little bit of a battle with, and on their way to Shadar Logoth, and that's where we left off. We left off in Shadar Logoth. So Shadar Logoth was a very interesting thing in this story.
check your private chat out though, real quick. Pips has a demand.
Yeah, I gotta, not to not to get too far into it, but I feel like inquiring minds have a question.
Sure.
Oh my.
Sure, I'll do that. So
you're not
so
going
if
to
I have-
chug, right? You're
so
not going
if
to
I-
chug every time.
no, I won't do that. So I made a promise, and I'm eating these words because I was hoping everybody else would forget. So
Cheers.
Pips never forgets.
cheers. No, Pips never. No, he doesn't forget.
Nope.
So, one of the highlights of last week was that every time I asked the questions, I have to be careful how I ask my questions this time. the rule is that they cannot reveal anything beyond Eye of the World. Is that correct? I forget. That's
Yeah,
correct, right?
since
That's
you've read
kind
Eye
of
of
what
the
we
World.
that's
Yeah.
kind of what we settled on. So if I ask a question and if it doesn't get answered until after Eye of the World, then they say read and find out. So every time they say read and find out, I gotta take a swig, like I just did now.
So if we each say read and find out after the same question, that means you drink 4 times.
Dude, don't kill the man.
Already, you guys in the YouTube chat, you are our safety observers, you're our spotters, and if he keels out of his chair, dial 911, say that you're watching a YouTube stream, and a famous national treasure of a YouTuber is unconscious due to alcohol poisoning.
Yes.
Who?
Located somewhere in the state of Illinois.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably good enough. If you say a famous, world-class, national treasure of a YouTuber, state of Illinois, they'll know who you're talking about. I think.
I have to say, I have to address this comment. I'm here to say hello. Hey, Daniel. I'm here to support that woke Nerdporeal guy who hates 1950s movies. Okay, so true story. I made a Forbidden Planet video a year and a half ago. It's my 6th video I've ever made. If I listen to it now, I cringe really hard at all the rusty errors and dialogue, audio errors, audio errors that I'd made, and let's just say I brought up something. The movie's practically perfect. The only thing was, because it was the 50s, it was entirely Caucasian, American Caucasian crew on board a spaceship traveling to another solar system. And me being a big Star Trek fan, I was just like, well, I don't see that as realistic, because if you go into interstellar space, it's going to require the resources of everybody on Earth, all the expertise of everybody. And because I said that, and it was just like a throwaway statement. I guess I'm woke now. I'm woke. I'm sorry.
Nerdporeal.
So
Really, what it is in 2022, we know better. All it would take is one South African guy.
South Africa? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. South African.
No one else likes Elon Musk. I get it.
Dude,
fine. No,
Elon Musk
vote
is
for SpaceX. That's
dude.
fine.
No, SpaceX is. I live right down the street from SpaceX. SpaceX is amazing.
SpaceX is awesome. Yeah, I love what they're doing. So, but yeah. So yeah. Thanks, Daniel, for coming by.
Yes, thanks, Daniel.
So yeah, we're in Shader Logoth now. So this is an old city. It's really big. I think it's really big. So it's like it would take a very long time to walk from one point to another. So if I remember correctly, our 3 heroes, they decide, we're bored. We want to explore. We don't have video games. We have nothing to do. So we're going to go and we're going to explore the city, despite the precautions that Moraine set. So I think the thing that we learned is that Trollocs and Murderal, Dark Fiends don't want to enter this area. I think it's relatively hidden, if I remember correctly. Very few people know about it. So I remember later in the story, when they were able to say Shader Logoth, I think it was to the White Cloaks, actually, to your people pips. That's when they knew something was up here. That's privileged information. So I'm just curious if only a very few people know about that.
I mean, my take on it was that it's essentially ancient history that and a lot of knowledge, the loss of knowledge is kind of one of the themes of the book. And so something you said actually about the size of Arid Hall, now Shadow Logoth, being so huge is actually kind of relevant, because one of the themes of the books is the slow sort of decay of the world. The world is basically depopulating, and it is getting sort of worse as the age goes on, due to some things that you'll have to read and find out about.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Damn it, Steve! Come on, you're supposed to be on our team.
I'm looking out for you, buddy. I'm looking out.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Steve's awesome.
And I always thought of it as Shadow Logoth wasn't really well known just because the darkness of it really prevents people from
Yeah.
building civilizations nearby. So it ends up just being a remote, broke down city that nobody goes to, nobody knows about. The loss of history, as Pips was talking about, it counts into that, and it just becomes this dark place in lore.
And I think it's important to notice that the fact that Trollocs, Darks, Shadow Spawn, all of them do not want to go
afraid
in.
of it.
These are creatures and beings that are not really afraid of much, if anything, and they're afraid to go in. They don't want to go in. They won't go in unless they are literally forced. So that's how bad this place is. So
And you know what's interesting about that, Steve, is that later on, and you'll have to read to find out for this one, but it ends up having a big it plays a big part in the last battle because there's like multiple types of evil in this world, and I think that's interesting.
Well, Shadow Logoth comes back around a lot, but
yeah, it does.
You guys keep
There's
you
a
guys
lot
keep
of cool
trying
things
to
that
cheat.
happen there.
But you have to read and find out.
He has to prompt the read and find out.
Okay, guys, we need to come together on this. We can't lead with the statement. We need to let him ask the question, and then we can dogpile on top because we got the mall cop over here, Steve, who's just doing this up here.
I am the enlightened one. I was the first. I would join I joined the channel first, so I am enlightened.
Give the people what they want, which
the wings of Nerdporeal are safe under my protection. All right.
Yeah, join the continuum. Hit that join button now. Yeah, I know.
Steve,
if you join, you might get part of Prophet's royalty check.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting about Shadow Logoth too is that it's like, think of the how they've introduced backstory and exposition, and they do it so it fits into the story. So first we have Moraine's cry from Netheryn speech in Emmett's Field, and then we go to Shadow Logoth, and then we're getting some more information about previous civilizations, and we're starting to wonder hey, what happened to destroy all this stuff? And I'm curious
continues a bit with Bail Doman as well, right? Well, he's talking about some of the sites along the river, and he talks to the boys about things that he's seen. The world definitely expands, as they kind of walk into it, which is one of the great things about the story is that there's as they explore this world, you never feel like you're hitting sort of something you've already seen. You're never retreading the same kind of narrative steps. You're always learning new details and new pieces of the puzzle. And it's really fun to read the series and to see some of these things come back again, especially characters that you forgot their name because there's 2,600 named characters in the series, details that you would have not thought were important, and then 10 books later they pop up, and you're like,
what? I know that.
I was gonna ask with because sometimes they name characters and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just go in passing. They say, oh, there's this farmer. This farmer chases them off, but then another farmer comes in. And they actually give the farmers a name. So I'm just curious, and based on what you said, that a lot of these named characters will come back and have a part to play in the overall story.
Nathan, get him, Nathan, get him.
We'll find out.
That was legit, Steve. That was legit.
Well, hold on a second. I'm going to be the referee here for a second. So he is saying, is it important that these named farmers might come back in this? Is that really a Rafa?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. It is because
there's a certain apple farm. There's a certain apple farm, Steve.
There's an apple farm.
Okay. No, don't worry about it.
I'll allow it.
So my other question is,
you already drank anyway, so
I mean, so in this city, you have two evils. We have more death.
Yeah, more death.
More dread, more death. Who is he's an ancient person who has the ability to morph. He has the ability to morph, he morphs into a giant thing and then he morphs into smoke and then he leaves for no reason. Why does he do that? They didn't. There was no reason for him to retreat, unless there was. but I didn't spot any reason for him to retreat. He's just like, you're gonna die, and then
I don't know that that's really a Raphael. I mean, he's more. I mean, he's.
I don't think
screwed.
they ever really explained like Shadow Logos evil. They don't really.
Well,
but
I mean, it's the
definitely
it's
something else.
It's well, yeah, I get. I mean, it's supposed to be the corruption. Like, I mean, just the city got so corrupt, it just created its own evil thing. Like, and you don't really know like
they explain
how.
the
I guess,
source
but,
of the evil, but they don't
Yeah.
explain like how Padden Fane, how Mashadar, like they don't explain how Mordeth and all of these different things, like how they actually exert an influence, right? Like the one power is very clearly explained, right? But all of the things that are in the world that are not the one power, so Min's visions that we talked about last time, like those don't ever really get explained. Although for those of you paying attention, my theory on Min's power is that she has the same sort of talent to see Taviran, just like turned up to 11. But anyway, so
I thought you were going to say she has a tumor.
So I'm trying to understand. So Mashadar was the end result of the evil that Mordeth, the poison that Mordoth was spewing into the king, and recommending that they become even more brutal than their enemies.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as for like how he kind of turns into smoke and leaves, I mean,
I'm positive he comes back.
How are you now? I'm not gonna. You haven't asked the question, so I'm not gonna say it. So.
I didn't ask a question. I'm positive.
He keeps on doing these. I now I'm just being very sort of defensive in my statements.
He is destroying these pretzels, though. So
you gotta risk a little there. Nerdporeal.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
So what did you think of? I want to know what you thought about the whole Shadow Logos. Chapters.
I mean,
and all that. I'm curious.
It was a very tense. It was almost like they're in this unknown. It felt like I was playing. Reminded me like playing like a video game, believe it or not, like a Zelda or a Final Fantasy. You're exploring this new dangerous area. You have these you don't know what's ahead. There's a streak of terror involved, and there's also that sense of exploration, which is and this is one of the few chapters where you actually see just Perrin, Matt, and Rand together. Like I don't think there's really any other scene that I've read so far where it's three of them together. They're either separate or they're part of the entire party.
Yeah, that's the saddest things about rereading this book. It's just like, oh my god, the foreshadowing, or like, oh my god, you sweet summer child, you don't know what's gonna happen, or just the heart-wrenchingness because you know what's gonna happen.
Mordeth is such a like. I don't know. I find Mordeth fascinating in all of Shadow Logos. I wish we got more than we got, but
yeah. And I thought it was interesting. Like they find all this treasure. Another thing that made me think of Zelda, believe it or not. Yeah. And so of course I've read this book before, so I remember the dagger. So there's a ruby hilted dagger that Matt takes, and luckily for him, it wasn't. Apparently, according to Moraine, you cannot accept any gifts from Mordeth, but you can take stuff.
Careful.
That is what Matt says.
Oh. That is indeed what Matt says.
So
we'll leave it there.
I just like the absolute balls on Matt to even do this. Like
Matt is not his Chad of a self yet. So, but that is what Matt irresponsible.
He's getting there. He's getting there. Oh.
Irresponsible. Curious Which Matt does say
that. We should point out that you said the three boys wanted to like go and explore. It was really just Matt. It was just Matt.
And they sort of
followed. They followed.
Rand and Perrin kind of went with him
just because they didn't want him going alone. Pretty much. Yeah.
And I think Perrin's reasoning behind that was probably more of crap. I got to go protect these guys from being retarded.
Yeah. Well, he did have a dagger at that point, right? Oh wait, sorry, I'm getting
confused. Right. Okay. It was made by his dead wife.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
We'll get
so
into that
they-
later.
You're crossing the streams. You're crossing the
stream.
streams.
I'm sorry. Okay,
I hate it when my Schwartz gets twisted.
Oh boy.
So they end up running. So they encounter Mordeth, and they fly the hell out of there, and they get back to Moraine. And of course, Moraine tells them, she's like, what did you do? And she tells them about Mordeth, and she goes into a little bit about the history of Eridol, or what becomes Shader Logoth. And then after that story is told, then we find out that Myrddraal and Trollocs have indeed decided to enter inside the city, which is, I think, unprecedented. Because it's known by many that they would never set foot in Shader Logoth.
It's happened once before.
They were driven there.
It's odd, incredibly weird, and shouldn't be happening.
Because it does explain like the last time that Trollocs and Myrddraal went into the city, right? That is discussed in this part by Moraine, right?
Yes, if I remember.
Yeah, I must have forgot that.
Yeah.
I forgot that detail.
So I mean, it's not super important to the story. So if this is a little bit out of order, I think we can say it anyway. That the previous time was during the end of the Trolloc Wars, right? So like after the city had already fallen, but still kind of within the Trolloc Wars, a Shadow Spawn army with Dreadlords and all sorts of stuff basically camped at Eridhall, and just disappeared. And another army was sent to go look for them, and they found like written in blood and Trolloc script around the wall about what, that they were all being murdered and massacred and killed and all this stuff. And so the name Shader Logoth came essentially from that, about shadows waiting, the idea that there's this evil that waits and lives in the city to kill anything that passes into its walls, even Myrddraal and Trollocs and Dreadlords and all
everything.
that. So
it's its own evil.
And then this is the perfect segue into Mashadar now. So this evil fog that just propagates at night. I was trying to understand what was going on. So does it live in the buildings?
No.
Or does it live underground?
I don't
like
they don't
when
really
I
explain
first
it,
read
really,
this.
do they?
When I first read this, I imagined that it was living underground, and it just.
I mean, I feel like it's sort of like a fade type thing. It's not really explained. It's just a shadow that coalesces in is living. It doesn't really give any detail as to where it's living.
Conscious of it. It seems to be kind of unconscious. And I thought this was really interesting because in terms of world building, it's like you'll find out later as you go on. It's like there's two different kinds of evil in the world. There's like this evil, and then there's like Dark One evil and Fades and Trollocs evil. So it's like this is an extra little level of evil. So you're starting to think, so maybe there's like hierarchies and the powers and stuff and where they come from. So.
And I think that's one of the things that Jordan does well in creating Mashadar, and then what we get with a certain place that they have to travel through to get to Faldara. The elements that he creates in terms of an evil that he doesn't explain, he does so intentionally as a means to just absolutely drive a sense of foreboding terror into the reader about, I don't know what this is. It looks freaking scary, and I'm almost afraid that if he does explain it, I'm just going to have some serious therapy to go through.
So it kind of it kind of makes me think of cosmic horror, even though this doesn't take place in outer space, but just the fear of the unknown, our fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that I want to point out to kind of what Lady B was saying is that to the extent that there's like different types of evil, what's interesting about Shader Logoth, Mashadar, all that, is that there is the evil of the Dark One, which is sort of the antithesis to creation, right? And then there's the evil of men, right? And Shader Logoth is men's evil. That the idea of Mordeth and his plan to make us as sort of ruthless as the enemy, as ruthless as the shadow, actually, I mean, pays off, right? Like the power that was created at Shadar Logoth is actually the equal to the power of the Dark One. If you see the Trollocs and the Fades and all those types of things as being the Dark One's power, and that's a really interesting concept that I think Nate's correct that Robert Jordan does a good job with. That
Yeah,
we are able to create our own evil.
yeah. It's the unexplored and impossible to explore depravity of man.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that kind of comes across with the fact that the Smashadar is kind of unconscious. Like, it seems to sort of have an idea when there's people around, but it doesn't seem to like exactly know what's going on. It's kind of like
Yes,
the
like
creeping eye fog.
aimlessly moving
Going
through
back,
the city. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
like going back to
But-
the 50s with like the creeping eye and stuff like that. 50s
Yeah,
horror
but
movie.
still permeates in a way that it's incurable.
And is still existing in the world with a certain white cloak that maybe Perrin has a sense of wrongness about in the chapters we're going to cover today.
Okay, there you go. So Mashadar comes out. They're trying to leave. So Lan comes back and says, "Hey, there's Trollocs here. We have to get the flying F out of here." Doesn't say that exactly. I'm paraphrasing. So what happens is, they're on horse. They're trying to leave. They're trying to get by without them being spotted. And all of a sudden, Mashadar comes out. This fog just appears. I forget if this was at night. I'm assuming this was at night. Actually, yeah. So yes, this was at night. So
because Mashadar is out during the flight, so that has to be at night.
During the what?
During their flight from the city, Mashadar is out, and it only comes out at night.
Oh, of course. Now the question I have is: does Mashadar only comes out at night, right? Or is that not explained?
Yeah, it only comes out at night.
All right. So because
That's
of
why
that,
you got to walk in the light.
You got to walk in the light. So, you got to join the Nerdporeal continuum too. So here we have so because of that there's a separation right there. So Lan and Moraine are all the way in the front. They're right in the front, and they're separated from everybody else. So because of the fog, and I think the thing is that if you make any physical contact with this fog, you're dead, if I remember correctly. Or a fate worse than death. I don't remember.
Yes. Don't touch the fog. You're done.
Don't touch the fog. So they're like, okay. So after that, they're like, I forget what Moraine says. Follow the look at the moon, or follow one of the stars. I think, and I'll find you.
I think so. Yeah.
So she says that, and then they separate, and of course, then Rand. Everybody's looking to Rand to lead them. So they're trying to get out of there. But then all of a sudden, Trollocs, they're being attacked. So they're all fleeing, they're all flying, they're all going in different directions. So it's complete chaos at this point. So this is where the separation, the breaking of the fellowship begins.
Yeah.
If you could call it that. So
I think you could.
Or should I call it the breaking of the tavern? Okay.
What do you think of the pairings? What do you think of the pairings? Like, yeah.
With
I like steak with red wine.
Perrin and
what about
Perrin and Egwene
knuckle
and
sandwich.
Rand, Matt, and Tom.
Yeah, like
and then Nynaeve stays with, and Nynaeve reunites with Moraine and Lan. It was very interesting. It was a very interesting pairing. I'll say that because it's like Rand is the one that likes Egwene, and Perrin, I'm just like kind of. I really didn't feel like it wasn't really until like they separate that you really get to know Perrin. Like that was one of the issues I had, was that we didn't really know much about Perrin. He was just kind of there.
He's very reserved. I mean, that's just him.
Yes.
He thinks he's
very
not
careful.
dumb. He's described very much as not dumb, but he likes to think things through before he acts. So he's just sort of in the background for the most part at this point, just sort of watching and trying to decide what he's going to do, right?
Full and thorough.
Yeah, exactly. So, but he did have an axe.
So when's
Remember that.
Nerdporeal going to
So
get drunk? Get on with it.
So I have to ask. Did
With a
you,
wicked half moon blade balanced by a
there,
spike.
there you go.
Balanced by a spike.
Did you enjoy? So I'm assuming you saw the payoff from the coins, right? We're past there. Did you notice that?
I mean, I know about I know in the next chapter they Moraine reveals to Nynaeve what the purpose of those coins are.
The findings.
It's kind of like they're like a tracking device,
right,
for her. So
right.
more or less. But the thing is, so they get separated. So I think Perrin is being chased. Perrin's by himself, he was with Egwene, but he gets, I forget, like they're being chased, and he falls into the river, the Arenelle River, and he is struggling to get. He's swimming, he's struggling to get to the other side. He gets rid. I think if I remember correctly, he gets rid of his cloak, and he's just swimming. He's just trying to get to the other side, and he makes it. And I believe Rand and Matt and Tom end up they come across a ship, a ship called the Spray, and the guy that's supposed to be on watch that night. What was his name again? What the hell was his name? That little twitchy. What was his name? Okay, that's Perrin. Dust in the Wind.
Gosh,
is my mic better, Pips?
I don't remember, honestly. He's done it for
Gelb.
me. That's what.
Gelb.
So they're being chased by Trollocs, and then the whole crew wakes up, and they're like, "Oh shit, we got Trollocs on her!" So they end up fighting them, and they end up getting it. They're like, "We gotta get the fuck out of here!" And then they sail off, and I don't think there were any casualties. I don't think there were any casualties amongst the crew. Was there?
No.
Well, Rand was almost a casualty, and then the boom swung across the ship and took out a Trolloc.
Yeah.
Rip Narg.
So they got there, and I think the captain's like, "Whoa, how are you going to pay for this? Well, you want to be on our ship, you got to pay." And I don't know if it was this chapter or the next chapter with them, but like Matt and Rand surrender their coins like right away, and Tom's like, "What the fuck are you doing? I could have negotiated. I could have negotiated for our trip, our passage." And they're like, "Well, we don't think they would have taken. We don't think they would have done anything. So we did. We offered it." So I thought it was dumb. I don't know. Do you guys think it was dumb?
Well,
I thought it was.
It's just an example of their youthful impetuous. They can handle themselves.
Yeah, the interesting thing about these chapters is like, I mean, I stopped my rereading at chapter like 12 going on 13, but like it's interesting to see how much like leveling up the guys are doing. Like they're still training with Rand, or Lan is training with Rand, Matt, and Perrin, and they're learning stuff. And then when he gets on the boat, it's like Tom is teaching them stuff too. And that's going to be really important for later on.
Yeah. So that I think, yeah, that was part of chapter 20, I think, chapter 20. I'm trying to remember what happens next. So yeah, so once again the coins were meant to be tracking devices for Moraine.
Yeah.
So I forget, I think we learned that Nynaeve also has the ability to channel the one power.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
And she basically has been.
I completely forgot how that turned out right there.
Yeah. And it just kind of breaks her mind when Maureen tells her that, and she's in denial for.
Yeah, because they all grow up, they all learn just to distrust Aes Sedai. That's one thing that's being beaten over your head in this book, is that nobody trusts Aes Sedai. Like Aes Sedai, you get involved with an Aes Sedai, you better tread carefully.
So. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and there was the story that Nynaeve tells about breakbone fever when Egwene had it was a phenomenal story on just how, she was the one who really healed her, and she didn't even realize it. And that was kind of like the eye-opening moment for her.
That happened previously in Bearlawn, right? So that was we covered that part of it last time, or
Yeah, I think so.
I was
yeah,
I don't know.
shortly after she
no,
showed up in
no,
Bearlawn.
that was described in chapter 21 when
Okay.
Maureen reveals to her that
Yeah,
she
because it
could
wasn't.
channel.
It wouldn't make sense for it to come up before because she tells us that she's channeling, and then she realized, it's all sort of comes to the forefront that that's what she was doing. That's why her
Yeah.
healing, she just wasn't the best with herbs. She was sort of cheating.
She was doing something
Right.
else with herself.
And right, and it goes on to sit there and say how rare it is for someone to sit there and not only be able to do this, but also survive channeling sickness without being trained to do so. So it builds the lore also of, yeah, it's great that you can channel, but you have to be trained. Otherwise, even if you're a woman, you're likely going to die.
Which is interesting considering what happens to Rand and the horses. I don't know if you guys have got there yet, though, so I won't say anything more.
I'm up to chapter 38, so that's
Rand's still
so
working
he's
his
in
way there.
he's in Camelin. He's in Camelin right now. That's where I'm at with my read. So, but yeah, so but yeah, like so apparently Egwene somehow rides Bella the Bella into the river and
Mhm.
just gets across. I just found that kind of like, really, because I remember like parents struggling to get across, but she was just able to ride across the river. Was there like a ford or something?
Horses can swim.
Yeah, horses are pretty good swimmers. I didn't take that
Yeah.
she stayed on her saddle. I just figured that Bella and her she probably clung to Bella and Bella swam across. So
Yeah. I mean, if you can't tell, Pips is just fresh in from doing that himself.
Yeah, for real.
frequently swim across the Arenal.
So, okay, so they meet, and I think so Perrin and Egwene have they're going around like he's walking. She's complaining about riding Bella all the time. And if I remember correctly, I mean, ultimately, if I remember correctly, they trying to remember what happens in this chapter
with Perrin and Egwene.
Yeah, I know they
so
encounter Elias, but does anything happen before they encounter Elias?
I mean, so they link up. Perrin is basically, he's got none of his stuff. He lost his saddlebag with his horse that went down off the cliffside, right? So he had none of his gear really. Whereas she had Bella with her saddlebags and some dry stuff that was, probably wrapped in, parchment, like wax paper, stuff like that. So things that were packed. So she's in a much better position than he is. He runs into her and she's already got a little fire going and like everything's going great for Egwene.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's how they reunite. What happened to their horses? That's one thing I was wondering about when I was reading, like what happened to Rand's horse and Perrin's.
So Rand's horse,
the gray, I forget the
Cloud.
Cloud.
I don't think they tell you what happens to his horse. They're just not there. Yeah. I don't think. I would assume the city consumed them or they ran off.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember whether or not Cloud fell off like an edge and broke its neck or something like that. Or got left behind in the city. It's been a while since my reread now.
Yeah, I feel like
Cloud
died.
Got
the houses.
Yeah. So Cloud didn't make it. Perrin's horse, I think, like I said, went into the river and didn't come back up again, essentially. And then the other ones all keep their horses, I think.
What about Matt's horse? I forget who did Matt ride? I forget what horse. Did they even name Matt's horse?
Matt and Perrin both had horses that were Master Thane's horses, I think. Right? They were just bought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were nothing special. Matt. I'm pretty sure that side of things, their horses just got eaten. I think.
Bella ate Cloud.
But either way,
there were points earlier. I forgot to bring up last week. There were points where I was worried about Bella. Like I felt attached to Bella.
Oh, really?
Since,
Oh,
oh, really?
I wish Bella
were
would
you
get
worried?
eaten.
yeah.
Were you worried about Bella?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, like that for when the Althor farm was attacked and Bella was gone. I was like, oh no, not what'd they do? You know, so. And then we find out that Bella ran to the town. So,
Yeah, that's something I totally forgot because I don't know why. For some reason, after like we all got totally smashed last night on our last White Coats rewatch, I woke up and I'm like, how did Bella get to the town? And then I kind of skimmed through the book.
Yeah,
and I was like, is this a horse watch moment? But Pip saying "Careful Road" jogged my memory on that.
One thing I did. Oh, one thing
I keep a close eye on Bella. I know where she's at.
You have to.
Okay.
She's your girl.
So one thing I thought was interesting. I forgot about this. So he finds her with the fire, and parents just like assumes that Egwene knows how to light a fire, and then we find out she actually used her abilities. And like, so that they try to do it the next time, and she can't do it. She can't do she can't light the fires and everything. So I forget what they ultimately did to like she didn't have the flint. He assumed she had like flint, and then we learned that she had the abilities, but now she can't use them. So
because she's untrained, right? So
yeah,
you'll learn more about that. But like the bottom line is that at this point, she has very, very, very little ability. So
they just? I thought they went.
Unlike the show.
Yeah, I thought she couldn't light the fire, and they did without because they couldn't light one. I thought it was that.
No, she did. She did have a
At
fire.
one point, yes.
Yeah, they did. They did go the next time when he was like, "Well, where's your flint?" And she's like, "I didn't have one." And then it dawns on him how she started the fire the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. I went too far.
That is interesting. Like reading it again and realizing how quick she is to say like, "I'm gonna be an Aes Sedai," and I'm like totally ready for this. And she really latches onto Moraine, and
she unbraids her hair.
She unbraids her hair, and I think that's when
what
the
a hussy
split between her and her and Rand happens. And I think she's just like, I think Rand realizes, okay, I don't know about this chick.
So I'm curious about their journey. I'm curious about where they are on the map when they're with Elias. So like when they meet the Tinkerers, when they encounter the birds, when they're running from the birds and everything, where they first encounter the White Cloaks.
They're in the Caroline grass.
They're in the what grass?
The Caroline grass.
Where's that?
So, north of the river.
So yeah, that whole thing. If you look at Whitebridge and you go north, and then there's that big unpopulated expanse.
This area here.
Okay, and that's all grassland. I mean, very few trees.
It's kind of like I think of like the moors or something, or like the prairie, or not exactly the prairie, but like there's a little bit more brush and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a large area, so presumably it has, a mix of different stuff going on, but it's collectively known as the Caroline grass.
Caroline grass,
which
used
to be, used to be actually another country. Like that, something used to exist there. So it's another kind of clue that the fact that there's so much open space in this map. Like think of Europe, or think of, anywhere else kind of in known human history. And like, how often was it that you see countries with just big gaps between them where like nobody lives, right? So that's a clue that Robert Jordan is leaving for, the cataclysm and the trauma and the continuing ongoing fall of civilization that's happening.
Yeah, the breaking of the world, like what was there before. Like I think that's really interesting in this, is that there's so much like mythos through it.
So there's a lot, like you were saying, there used to be civilization. There used to be a lot more to civilization. There used to be a lot more cities, a lot more towns, a lot more places people settled, a lot more settlements and everything. Wow, that's crazy. So, wow. So at this point, so the fact is they are starving. They're looking for food. Perrin and Egwene, they're having a hard time finding rabbits using the slings and everything until they come across. He smells something and they come across a fire, and of course, this is where we meet Elias. And Elias is just like, "Hey, I've been tracking you for a while, and let's see, Prophet is sharing something."
It was the map I was trying to show you.
Yeah, so right in here, you
it's
see
like
where my
right
pointer
north
is.
of Andor.
So that whole area south of the borderlands, north of Andor.
Yeah.
See where I'm at
so
here?
right dead
Yeah,
center in the middle of the map, like
right where my pointer's at, right here.
So that's the Caroline grass. Okay.
And you can see Camelin is sort of southeast.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that's okay. So interesting. So I was curious. Okay, there we go. So that's where they encounter. So they encounter Elias there.
It's always good to keep a map with you, or if you can, to refer just to get your bearings.
Luckily, they provide them on the inside cover of all the books.
Exactly.
Unless you have mine, where the inside cover map is upside down.
Yeah, I've seen the map. I used the map in my opening.
Yeah, of course.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, this was the one part I wasn't quite sure where they were. So where exactly they were. I knew they were the vicinity they were, but so we meet Elias, and he's a guy. He's very good. He's very good at tracking. He's very good at hunting, and he's got yellow. If I remember correctly, he's got yellow eyes.
Yellow eyes. Like, what does that possibly mean?
He can talk to wolves. He can talk to wolves, and he's part of a pack. I think he's part of Dapple's pack. I think Dapple's the lead wolf. Yeah.
Dapple's my girl.
And so I remember the thing I remember most is like the wolves they've been communicating far longer than humans have, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
with each other.
So it's the wheel of time, right? Ages come and pass. So presumably it's all about the same amount of time, which is time unending, world without end, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure you can really say that it predates one thing or another. Just in this age, men have not been doing this for a long time, but the wolves remember when men did.
Yeah, you know what I thought? This was interesting too, because like we found out in Shadow Logoth, this seems to be a different power at work. And I thought that was interesting when I was reading it. But one thing that made me really angry was just like reading this and seeing how many times I've read Game of Thrones. I was like, what the hell? Like, this sounds just like when like Bran and Arya and all the Starks start warging wolves. I got so angry because I was like, dude, like George R. R. Martin totally stole this from Wheel of Time, and I was just like,
you think so? I don't know. I think it's
a trope. It's a fantasy trope.
Mean, it's
it can be. It was just, to me, like being the English major nerd that I am, it's just like the diction and the words that he used and the way he described it was very much like George R. R. Martin, like very much copied what he said. I don't know copied, but he
borrowed. He
inspired by it, borrowed by it. Like, I don't know.
There's
a lot of stuff.
He sampled Robert Jordan.
I'll go with sampling. Sampling's a good way to say it, because there's so much crap in like Game of Thrones that's from Wheel of Time that it almost made me angry for a really long time.
That's true. Wheel of Time is the superior franchise. I'm glad to have you on board, Lady B.
Yeah, I agree.
So have you got to the Tinkerers yet? Like, I'm trying to remember what chapters you're in.
Well, he just was talking about the meetup with Elias, right? So the Tinkers come next.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure if he made it there.
And it's cool. I mean, you're talking about, you can now have this power revealed with wolves. You have Min's different power. You have the stuff in Shadow Logoth. You have the one power. You know, all of these little things that operate completely separate from each other, and they're a part of this world, whether they were common in the past or they're more common now. It's all just building up this kind of rich thing. We're not even halfway through the book at this point, and you're seeing all these different things that people can't explain, and you're just kind of like, okay, I I am neck deep in something that some of the stuff won't get explained, some of it will, but it's just kind of like, this is some really deep lore that I'm going to get sucked into, and it's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, definitely. It is cool because it's like you're like, what is this? And there's so many different things happening and being introduced. It's like,
Yeah, it seems like this is really setting up a lot of things. Like, and now
yeah.
if I didn't know the names of the next few books, I would probably would not have known that certain things that they talk about, like the Great Hunt of the Horn, is probably going to be a major thing in the next story. And that's not a question, but I'm going to drink it. I'm trying to drink to that anyways.
I mean,
I mean, the book is called The Great Hunt.
yeah, but they
Yeah.
also
But-
they bring that story to a satisfying conclusion in The
Yeah.
Eye of the World, right? So
Yeah.
one of the things, The Eye of the World gets some criticism from people. I think that if you've read the series only one time, a lot of people are not huge fans of The Eye of the World. If you've read the season multiple times, or if you at least read it a second time, I think that when you see the amount of foreshadowing and like
Oh my God,
the
yeah,
stuff he
you're
goes
just
on,
like,
yeah, it becomes one of your favorite books. I think is generally what I've gotten from talking with people about the
Yeah.
series. And the one thing that stands out for me on why I think that is the case is because The Eye of the World was written so that it could kind of be a self-contained story. So Robert Jordan was not sure how well this story was going to be received, right? He didn't know how successful it was going to be. And so he wrote a story that, like, if it had ended at the Eye of the World, you would have had questions about what was going to happen afterwards. But like, it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. It had kind of, a showdown. It had all the things that you would want in a story. But that does narratively, that makes it very different from all of the other books in the series because it kind of draws the threads back together again. And I'm too drunk to remember why I started talking about that. But Eye of the World's a great book.
it can stand alone.
Well, but the point that you made about the foreshadowing that's in this book, I mean, going through
Oh
this reread
God,
that
it's
I'm going
so
through right now,
awesome.
it's the foreshadowing is all what seems like just these throwaway one-line sentences in the middle of exposition that you don't think about, and all of a sudden you're reading through these things and you're like, oh my, wait a minute. It's like
Yeah.
the whole parent thing is actually alluded to 2 times, I believe, before Elias looks at him and says, they say he can do it.
Mhm.
And you're just kind of
You
like,
know what?
oh man, that is awesome.
But
You know what
also
my
foreshadowing
favorite
for
is?
future books too.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I was just gonna go back on that and say, like, I've been trying to get this Logain stream going because I really love Logain. He's my favorite character next to Rand, and
I didn't know that.
I love Logain. How could you tell? I mean, he's my avatar. Anyway, but I was going back and looking at what they do with Logain, and they use his story as a framework to set up everything that happens to Rand. And there's so much foreshadowing with him, and then it talks about. I mean, there's even something in the Winter Night part, like section in that area, where he talks about like men in black cloaks, which refers to something later, if you know what I mean. Because me in the Black Tower, yeah. But it's interesting, and that really comes to the forefront in the part like just after like the parent and stuff, because we meet Logain and Rand sees him, and
Yeah, I actually
laughing.
really love this chapter with Elias. Like we learned quite a bit about him. He's somehow connected to the Aes Sedai, and him and the wolves have had they hate Trollocs, and I think they hate Trollocs, and they hate servants of the Dark One.
So Servants of the Dark One is kind of an interesting thing. I don't think they care much about people in general. I'm not sure that they actually hate Dark Friends. I
didn't say Dark Friends. I said Servants of the Dark One. So like your Trollocs, your
Shadowspawn.
Shadowspawn. Yes.
Shadowspawn.
Okay,
Shadowspawn.
Shadowspawn. Sorry, my bad.
Sworn.
Yeah. So I actually, what's the rest of your guys' take on this? I actually really like the inversion of the sort of the common kind of trope that like wolves are generally feared by people, right? So I really like the inversion that wolves are actually they're out there hooking and jabbing. They're out there fighting the bad guy.
I love the wolves and what happens and what Perrin finds out there. It's like that giant statue, which just makes you think of like what was here before, what's the backstory. Does this tie into the prologue? Like, makes you wonder, like, where is it going? And I like the wolves as friends.
Yeah, there was an anime show I watched where wolves were not depicted as enemies, but they were depicted as they were out there living amongst man. It's called Wolf's Reign. It came out like 2 decades ago. So when I think of the wolves and I think of man talking to wolves, I actually think of the anime series right there. So
I almost think it's more common to have wolves be friends of man than enemies. Like the one thing that people usually do is like, even in this book, is that crows are the enemies, which are interesting to me because of Norse mythology. They're like Hugin and Mugen, like they're friendly.
You mean ravens?
Yeah, ravens and crows. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what's going on there. Oh,
I just took the map down. No biggie. All good.
Oh, okay.
Proceed.
I was like, for a second, I thought it was something I had to do. So
no. I took it. I liked
the other thing I really liked. I felt
trying to be subtle. I was doing the whisper chat, over here, and then now we're just.
Yeah. So the other thing that I thought was really cool, a highlight that I took away from this was when they're like when Elias is asking them like where'd they come from, and of course because they're because of the fact that they're being hunted, they can't be forthcoming with what happened to them, so they have to make up their own stories and everything. And then I think was it Dapple's like Dapple tells him like you're lying, you're lying, because they made Egwene made up that story about why they were there, and they're like he's Elias is like you're pissing off these wolves, they're gonna kill you if you you keep lying to us. So I thought that was pretty cool that they could tell they could tell. I forget, it was because they could just see what they went through. I forget how
it's not explained yet. It's not explained yet.
Okay, all right. I thought it was explained. So okay, so all right, I'll read and find out. So, but yeah, so they have a buddy. So they have a new buddy now. We got Elias,
fellow White Cloak pointing out the lion ho Egwene. I have always really loved on a reread the fact that Egwene is the one that just starts just lying, and she's bad at it, and she just I like that Egwene is a prolific and bad liar. There's just something about that makes me smile.
Is it something that is something
correct?
And an absolute dirty hoe.
Is it something that will pay off? Is it something that will continue to be?
Well, hold on. She's
without going into any details.
We'll just say bitch.
Yeah, so I think it's more just an insight into her character, right? So like at this point in the story, you don't know much about Egwene, and I think that this is one of those things where like it just kind of tells you a little bit more about her character, that she like just immediately goes into spinning this big old yarn. Like that's the action of someone who has lied before, probably a lot, like.
Well, and I don't know. So I'm just trying to think where we are, because you get to the part. Do you get to the part where the Tinkerers have their little party and all that?
Yeah,
he goes through all that.
I don't know. I that whole thing rubbed me the wrong way with her making eyes at Aram. I instantly like that made me feel all sorts of ways about Egwene immediately. I was like, I hate this bitch. It instantly made me hate her. She has quite the story to tell, but that part immediately rubbed me the wrong way with because she's just like, and she's just in there batting eyes with this handsome kid and dancing around and thinking about, basically forgot her out about Rand completely at times. And then she's like, she remembers that, oh shoot, I forgot about Rand. Rand, I hope Rand's okay. Okay, I'm gonna go dance some more. It's just
even though parents, they're kind of reminding her basically with all of it.
Parents
flirt. Yeah,
Perrin's being a solid fucking dude, right? Like he is being his best friend, and he's like, man, like I'm watching my best friend's girl, like he could be dead, but she doesn't know that. Like this is
Yeah, she's just
this
dancing
is
the night away. She's like,
bullshit,
yeah,
right?
Rand may be dead, but
And-
let's go dance and flirt, and maybe
Yeah.
I've never danced like this with Tinkers before. He's
what
so
they
the reason why
handsome.
Perrin is my guy.
What they did to Perrin in the show, right? Because this is what we get in the books, right? Perrin is standing up for his bro, right? Bros before hoes, and they made him a hose before bros. Bullshit.
with a tiny dick.
Really?
Oh god, dude, you'll get there.
Oh.
We're gonna watch
Dude.
you and me, and you're
Hold on
gonna
a second.
you're gonna. Oh,
Meet Perrin.
Plank of wood. Pern. Reoccurring extra.
Oh no.
yeah, probably took that.
If
Wait,
you
wait,
could,
wait.
if
Wait,
I
Needs
you
to
gotta
be
draw an
open.
open. You gotta draw an open mouth on that thing.
hold on. I got two here.
There you go.
Wow.
We came with props.
You'll know when you see it. You'll
Alcohol
know when you
and
see it.
props.
You'll know when you see it.
Yeah, since
Yeah.
we're talking about the
Sorry, I know I
Tinkerers,
skipped, but it just was bothering me. I'm like, has he got there yet? I want to
know
talk
what?
about how much of a hoe Egwene is, because
Yeah, I forget what was her justification that we could be dead or something. So I want to
No justification. The
You said something
justification
like,
that she had an aching in her ovaries. That was her justification.
No,
That's right.
I agree. But she makes some sort of bullshit excuse like, we could have been dead. Don't you want to enjoy the time that we have? I'm gonna go
Right.
dance. It's like,
Yeah.
Rand
It's
and Matt could
it's
be
the
dead.
YOLO philosophy.
It's
It's
like
the what?
It's the YOLO philosophy. You only live once, and you can go screw yourself with that one. I mean, it's the contrast between this here with her and Rand later in the castle is just so night and day, and she's the one that gets defensive about it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, all I'm
Rand's,
thinking
because
about is
Rand's a good
bitch.
dude.
all
'Cause
Rand's
a
thinking about is
good
her.
dude.
Well, you're not quite to Kingman yet, so we're not going to go there. Or well, you just got to, but he hasn't fallen off the wall yet, right?
Yeah.
So
He's,
No, not
he's
yet.
read the whole Eye of the World before. We
I
can,
have read-
we can
I
do
have
Eye
read
of
the
the
Eye of
World
the World.
spoilers.
yeah,
I
so just the way
Yeah.
he's acting,
You kid!
his first thought is always, of Egwene and I hope she's all right, and I don't want to do this because of Egwene and this, that, and the other. And the first chance she gets, she's got her pants down and
Yep.
she's getting ready to get it in the asshole.
And
Wait, what?
Fuck her. She
Just-
pissed me off.
Just
Well,
not even
but-
not even good wholesome missionary. Just
No. She wants it right.
right. So, but
That's how
the great
Tinkers
thing
do
about
it, right?
this,
Because,
though,
come on.
the difference is, and I know that you weren't alluding to this, Steve, but he's doing these things and he's thinking about Egwene, but he's thinking about it from a position of, this is my girl. It's not a position of simping and being a pathetic beta male.
Yeah.
It's about,
No.
this is my girl and I'm protective about my relationship with her and I want to secure that.
As
And
far as
while
I mean, that's
the
just
whole thing,
great.
the whole discussion with Min's banging around the back of his head,
Well,
but he's still,
yeah, but
she's still it for him.
as far as he's concerned, they're still getting married. Right?
I know
mean, they're
all the
still-
guys
so-
from Two Rivers are so legit. Like that's the kind of guy you want to date. I mean, like look at like Perrin, like when he's out in the woods with Egwene, he's always like, no, you need to ride the horse. No, let me find food for you. No, let me make the fire. Let me take care of you. Let me protect you. And that's the same way, even though
Egwene's
they play him
skirt
off
comes
as a lady.
flying off
lady
the
man.
minute they... Sorry. Egwene
And Rand
skirts
is
off
the
and
same
it's like,
way. He's like, I'm not gonna hurt women. Like I gotta like look out for Egwene, and even
Yeah,
though
to a
he
fault.
starts to
I'm
have
sorry,
doubts
the whole-
about her.
yeah, the whole, I won't, I mean, I guess I shouldn't get into it, but the whole I won't harm women thing to a fault for Rand.
Oh
almost gets
geez,
him
yeah.
killed
Oh
about
god,
18
Rand.
times
I'm
now.
like, no, Rand, don't.
Like,
don't
In
kill
the
that
show
bitch.
or in the show or in the show or in the books.
What? What do you mean?
Just said about
No,
Rand.
in the
books, to a
books,
fault,
like,
to a
he is
fault,
just
he-
so like, I'm not gonna hurt a freaking
Yeah.
woman, and then like, hello, like land fear. I'm like, can you fucking
Like,
beat that bitch
you got
with like
people
balefire, please?
Yeah, people shooting arrows and swinging swords at him. All these, you got women trying to stab him to death, and he's like, "I'm not gonna kill
like-
you. You're a girl." It's like, dude, just snap her head. Like, do something. Come on, man. Trying to kill you, but Yeah. So
Well, there
to a
was
fault,
the
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's true. So like, okay,
I didn't give anything
so
away, Alden. It was very general knowledge that Rand is just an overall good dude when it comes to women. That's it.
Rand,
so
yeah.
what do you
I know. I'm like, Rand, Locate.
so what do you guys think of the Tinkers, the traveling people, the
Hate 'em.
Tuathon,
They can all drive off a
Walking on
cliff.
the way of the leaf,
Is
the
stupid.
way of
They
the
annoy
leaf?
me. They're like
Man
vegans
cannot.
or something.
So if I remember correctly, the way of the leaf is basically you cannot kill under any. Okay, way of the leaf. Let me see right here.
Any
Philosophy.
circumstance, yeah. Killing
Under
yeah.
any circumstance whatsoever. The model
You're
for
not
life.
even
You know
you're not
what?
even
Not
to
I
using
raise
hate
force
weapon.
or resisting its fall from the tree.
I don't like it because it's like, you know, being an anarchist, I'm kind of like, there's this whole thing called the non-aggression principle, and it's like you don't want to initiate force or coercion against other people, and people shouldn't do that to you. And this is just the extreme of that. It's like they're not going to hurt anyone no matter what, and they don't even believe in self-defense. And I'm sorry, self-defense is a human right, so
I don't
these
have
people
any.
just drive me crazy.
I don't actually have any real problem with the idea of the Tinkers. Like people like that exist.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
the
Are they supposed
examples.
to be like based off of hippies or something? Communes and all that?
So I'm not sure that Robert Jordan ever answered a question on like specifically what the influence for the Tinkers were. But you do learn more about them later, and so you'll have to read and find out about some of like what their journey kind of is. But the bottom line is that I always kind of took them as maybe like monks or sort of like priests or things like that. Like there are groups of people in the world who refuse to do acts of violence as part of their kind of faith, right?
Yeah, I can even attest to that being like of Mennonite origins. Like the Mennonites are extreme pacifists. They will not take sides in any conflict, and they are very against war. I know my dad, like in the 60s, it's like he went the like passive resistance or pacifist way, and they've always been like that. So I guess I'm coming from that, but at the same time, I'm like,
yeah, the difference is that often, like so I said monks and the White Cloaks official Alex in the chat there said Buddhist monks as well. The thing there, like my understanding of those societies and things like that is that there's somebody else who's always kind of looking after them, right? Like, so you can't exist in a vacuum. And I think that Robert Jordan was probably making the Tinkers as sort of a statement about that and about the validity of that idea. So you'll see some ramifications. You'll see more of their story develop. I think that it's a good part of the world. I don't have any problems with the Tinkers
and
being
you know
in
what's
the world.
really interesting, with the Tinkers too, is as you read and find it out, you'll find out that they really are a holdover from like the Age of Legends and what the like world was at that time and the kind of ideals and stuff that they had back then, which is interesting. But you'll read about it.
So yeah, without going into spoilers and stuff like that, I think that the bottom line is that the Tinkers are consistent throughout the world. So like their existence within the world has the foreseeable both positive and negative consequences and ramifications. So they're a good part of the story. Like they exist in it, and the things that happen to them are the things that you would expect. So,
Okay, that's interesting. They did talk. They did talk about like an interesting. I think there was a point in the story. I forgot which chapter it was, where it's Rain and Elias. So Rain and Elias have a history. They've known each other for quite a while, and I believe Rain is the one that tells Elias about this incident where where we learn about these Aiel women that I forget they were all killed, and then one of them like came back, was barely alive, and said something that was pretty cryptic if I remember correctly, Let me see.
I'm trying to, is this one of the prophecies you're talking about? I vaguely remember.
We learned quite a bit about the Aiel. And we learned quite a bit about the Aiel in this particular chapter, where where the Aiel they like to go and they like to hunt, shadow spawn or something. They go into the blight
in the waste, yeah.
And there was a point where a bunch of them were massacred in the waste, I believe, like 100 miles in the waste, and they're like, really? That's impossible. And this one woman, young kid, Maidens of the Spear. Yeah, so they're talking about the Maidens of the Spear, Far Derais Mai.
Yes.
And so like in Aiel society, like they don't necessarily have to, become, stay in the kitchen. I liked how Perrin reacted to that. And he was like, what? So
I love the maidens.
I thought that was funny.
The maidens are like so bomb.
Yeah. So
we're not there yet, but
yeah, they talk about the Eye of the World, which the Eye of the World has been name dropped multiple times. I think by mainly Balsamon when Rand has his dream. I think if I remember correctly,
the Eye of the World will not serve you.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, like they're all having the same dream at the same time, right? Like Perrin, Matt, and
Balsamon does not yet know who is who.
So I'm curious if they all have the dream at the exact same time, like in the exact same night or something, or is that something that doesn't get?
I don't know. I don't think it's important.
I think it's just assumed that they did.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think the only evidence that we have that they're having the same dreams is the rats conversation in Bear Lawn between Rand and Matt.
So
and one later.
Yeah, so the 100 dead. So so this one maiden's group killed like 4 times the Trollocs, and she comes back and says Leaf Blighter means to blind the eye of the world, lost one. He means to slay the great serpent, warn the people, lost one. Sightburner comes. Tell them to stand ready for he who comes with the dawn.
Oh man, that's so much foreshadowing.
Literally just had chills. Literally just got chills.
So prophecy, yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Stand ready for he who comes with the dawn.
He who comes with the dawn.
I swear it's
like put in.
Just brace yourself, Nerdporeal. It's good.
What's funny is I've heard the dawn spoken with that kind of weight, and Lady Balefire knows what I'm talking about.
See,
a song that will never finish.
Same thing as me. Aldan is saying the same thing. Like, you read that out and just felt it.
Dude, the titles given to some of these characters as you go through, like, are freaking amazing. I mean, just like,
what's so awesome is
dawn, right?
Yeah, it's like when you start like
very memeable too. If you ever go on Wetlander humor.
Yeah, he comes with the dawn. He who comes with the dawn, sort of the morning, and a song of ice and fire, like Morning Wood. I mean, yeah, they just walk right into that. But what's interesting in that is I have been researching like myths about dragons and about the dawn star and the evening star, i.e. Venus and Venus symbolism, and it's just so pervasive in human history that it's interesting to see how fantasy writers use it, and I'm going to use it in my own story. So I looked at like Robert Jordan and like George R. R. Martin and like Tad Williams and stuff like that. So it's very interesting, and it's a nice analog to our own world.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I after hearing this, like I had to read. I was this part of this part that we just talked about. I was actually on one of my walks and I was listening to it. So I wasn't just reading from my Kindle. I was actually also listening to the audiobook. So it was kind of going in between. So, but yeah, hearing that, like I had to re-listen to this 3 times. I thought it was great. So I would just rewind it back.
Dude, some of the prophecy drops in it's fucking just great. Yeah,
because once I hear something important like that, I have to like wait a minute. I have to understand everything. So, but I like
you understand nothing.
Exactly. That's
you're a baby, a pup.
I'm a young pup. I'm a sweet summer child and everything. So,
all just because you have to read and find out.
Oh, it didn't count, but go
No,
ahead.
he didn't have to, but I'll take it.
He was done with that one anyways. He's like, I gotta open something new. He was ready.
I
for
see.
something else.
That's right.
I see the Nerdporeal blood and ashes over there. Is he getting a little rosy cheeks? Maybe a little bit of color.
Doing
What are we
that
seeing
like
over there?
Two Rivers apple brandy.
What are you putting in there?
There hitting the Two Rivers
Curveball.
tobacco.
Original barbecue whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that means.
What are you
Barbecue
drinking?
whiskey. I'm drinking
Curveball.
a
Smells
sweet
like-
Irish rye braggot that I made.
Smells like liquid smoke.
I'm
You
drinking
are so Two Rivers. I raised my glass to
the
you.
Macallan.
Ooh, Macallan is so good. Oh,
I'm
Man,
drinking
I-
Chilean Irish whiskey.
Wait, Nos is,
aged
The
in-
hell?
Nos is reading from
Weird.
Ted Kaczynski's manifesto.
I feel
What
like
is
I'm drinking
happening?
barbecue sauce
Yeah.
right here.
It's based as fuck. You should read it.
You're drinking barbecue sauce?
That's what it tastes. This tastes like
Like, is it the
barbecue
good barbecue
sauce.
sauce or is it like terrible barbecue sauce?
Like the sweet barbecue sauce.
Nerdporeal is in for a real. He's in for a real awakening on
it's gonna be a
our
tough
whiskey
night.
stream. Our whiskey stream is going to be fantastic.
Yes,
This is g-
I'm a
it's like
big
the
fan
syrup chugging from Super Troopers.
The who?
What you're doing is like the syrup chugging from Super Troopers.
Oh yeah.
He's not going to be very successful with those little bird lips over there. You got to have those powerful lips. Derive much of my power from these lips right here.
Are you boys from Mexico?
Okay. So I want to get I want to finish this. I want to finish the parent. So if I remember correctly, like Perrin is just like he's just walking around. They're still there. Elias tells him that he wants to go, he wants to leave, and Elias is like we should stay for a few days. So he pretty much has nothing to do. So he's walking around and like he sees all these girls are trying to dance with him, and he's getting all blushy and he's getting very uncomfortable. And the thing that I took away from that was, and I thought this was funny, you hear his internal monologue. He's like, Rand would know what to do in these situations. Like the women are all over him, and I couldn't help it. I'm gonna skip way ahead. So when Rand is dealing with the farmers in chapter 31, especially when some of the farmers' daughters, keep their eye on him. He's thinking the exact same things. Like Perrin would know how to handle this. Perrin like that. Perrin would have like a witty response to say. So I just like how alike those two are and how much they respect each other. And I'm sure there's way more to it, but
so much.
Yep.
It's all three. It's all
Alex
three that do it.
Alex is totally right. Easily the best running gag in the series.
Yeah, oh my god, I don't know anything about women. Matt would know stuff about women. Red would know stuff about women.
It goes all the way to the end.
Oh, it does. It does.
Yeah.
It
I
does.
hope so.
And the best thing about it is the white cloaks are like that too.
So I thought that was pretty. I just thought that was pretty funny right there. And I don't remember anything else of note happening. Like, I mean, Egwene's still screwing around with
Trollop. Frickin' Trollop.
Trollop?
Yeah, with a P.
Kilmoney
Trollop.
flip skirts everywhere.
Oh. So she's still screwing around because she thinks this is all fun and
She's like,
an
ooh,
adventure.
Aaron's hot. Like, I just want to dance with him. And it's like a rave, and they're doing like shrooms and light show.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, the only thing I remember is that there was that moment with Perrin, and then of course he has the dream, and he encounters Balsamon in I think it was the Luhans. It was the in the Luhan's house. He's dreaming he's in Luhan's house, and the Balsamon just shows up, and one of the wolves shows up and he burns the wolf, or the wolf disintegrates into fire and ash and everything. So was that just like kicking him out of the dream? Did it hurt the wolf? Because the one thing I noticed in these dreams is it's kind of like almost like the Freddy Krueger effect, where you can get hurt in these dreams, and you wake up and you have the
Oh
same.
yeah, that is
Like
really
the point where
important.
Rand gets like he pokes himself with a thorn, I think, and he still has
Yeah,
that. He
it's
wakes
like,
up with
ouch.
that same ouchie and everything. So I'm
Just like your
curious.
intro said, pay attention to the dreams.
Read
Yeah,
and find out.
dreams are important. Read and find out.
Barbecue sauce.
I am
Well, my
not.
baby,
I am not
baby,
jealous
baby,
of
baby,
Wow, this
the
is
baby,
weird.
baby.
This is some
of the
weird tasting whiskey.
curve barbecue whiskey you got.
This is
over
so
there.
weird. Oh my gosh, this is sweet.
It's
Holy
like
shit.
it's like that peanut butter whiskey that I keep seeing on the store shelves.
What the hell
There's a
is
peanut
that?
butter
That
whiskey.
seems like an abomination. It's like I'm
Screwball,
kind of
the
curious, but I
screwball
don't
peanut butter
wanna try
whiskey. So the
I've got a
only
little bottle of it.
the only person that I've ever known who had it, who said it was any good, used it to make a peanut butter White Russian.
Oh god, that sounds disgusting. Ew.
I've heard if you pour it into a glass of cranberry juice, you can call it a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and actually tastes pretty good.
That sounds
I still-
terrible. I'm going to be
That
honest with
sounds,
you.
you know what? You know what,
I'll
Tommy? I
I've
never
got a little
tried
bottle
that.
of it. I'll do it on a live stream at some point.
Okay.
I
okay.
tried Jack Daniel's like Tennessee honey, and that was freaking disgusting. I'm like,
Might do it
okay,
now.
enough with this crap. There's nothing that I hate more than like flavored
Hmm.
whiskeys like that.
Tennessee
and,
honey
like,
is good in a hot toddy. That's the only thing it's good for.
yeah, and those weird flavored whiskeys and whiskey Ileys. I hate Ileys. I'm sorry. Gross campfires.
Just the smell itself is off-putting.
That's
So
because
disappointed
as
in you,
a lady, you're naturally predisposed to fear the smell of formaldehyde and chloroform.
Pips, go out and eat some alfalfa.
So another thing I forgot to another thing I forgot is how the dream ends is he's being so Perrin's face, and I think this also happens to Rand. He's being Hitchcocked. He's being pecked by a
The
bird.
birds. Oh my
Like a
god, I
raven-
hate
raven.
that.
He's
This
getting
is
pecked
one of my
he's getting
favorite
pecked in the
scenes.
eye. He's getting pecked in the freaking eye. Like just like rips it out. He's like, he's
Yeah.
in pain. And he wakes up and he's like, oh, I'm fine. So
That's so
I was,
scary. I
that's
have
kind
to
of
say,
that's
like,
kind of why
lots
that's
of
kind of
birds
why I
freaking
had
out.
that question that I posed that question earlier. So
Which question was that?
about the Freddy Krueger effect.
Why
already-
didn't
I
his
already
why wasn't
drank.
his eye gone compared to why Rand's thumb was still pricked? Right?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's some issues with like Tellerandroid logic that we could definitely get into as we read along.
The bottom line is that we're about to talk about some of the best scenes in The Eye of the World, I think, with Perrin and Elias and the crows and the ravens kind of going. That chase scene, phenomenal. And then
Yeah.
Rand and Matt on the spray, and then their sort of play for your supper. Like, we have so much ground. We've been going for an hour and a half, and I feel like we haven't covered anything. We need to get into the meat of this story.
I know. I'm like, we need to get to Camley and so look A-Trade.
Well, he's
Yeah,
barely
I mean,
he
so,
just
yeah,
got
so-
the Cayman, so there's not much to talk about that tonight, but there's a lot getting there.
No, but we haven't talked about the spray, that whole journey.
Yeah, we
And-
haven't
think
talked
that
about
whole
any of that.
part is so sweet and like,
Yeah.
you know, like you got a good male mentor figure and like Tom is teaching Matt and Rand stuff and they're learning how to juggle. Like, how many balls can you carry? Like,
We got to talk about Gadfly Fiction brought this up. So Whitebridge hasn't been covered yet. Speaking of Tom Maryland, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it's just a lot of ground. This is a lot of ground to cover. I mean, this just reading all that. I honestly don't think we're going to cover everything. We're not going to cover everything.
that's
So,
good because I need to read up to that point because I read like 4 chapters, but I've been kind of busy. So
Sounds like you're pushing it to a part 4.
It looks like that's what it's going to be. So
It
I'm
is
okay with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Me
I have
too. We all are.
more in my liquor cabinet. I can figure out a part 4.
Yes, definitely.
A White Russian with a screwball.
It sounds terrible. Like honestly, I haven't tried it. They talked like somebody talked, and I was like, I'll just drink whiskey neat, and I'll be fine.
So you
Right.
never drink with ice or anything?
No, I drink. I have I'll make an old
You don't
fashioned.
drink whiskey with ice. That's an abomination. You need whiskey rocks. The ice dilutes the whiskey.
You can have ice if you want a big chunk. So a
Fire.
big block or a big
The
sphere.
ball, the ice ball.
Yeah,
Like-
because
Like a
I'll-
Schrodinger ball.
Say like if I have a rye that's a real heavy rye that really kind of hits bad, a rock is
And-
an ice ball is necessary because it helps take
Yeah,
that
it
hit
does
right
loop.
off the back of
it
the
also
throat.
depends on if you're talking cask strength or if you're talking 40 proof. If you're drinking 40 proof on the rocks, you're a child. I'll tell people that to their face. Or sorry,
See.
40%, 80 proof. If you're drinking that, no,
I-
go home.
I've
Go
got-
home.
I've-
Getting my
Go home.
coffee.
Talk to your mom.
I'm gonna. This is gonna be my bona fides here. I've got a 59% cask strength up on my cabinets. Neat. I do not
I-
drink that with rocks.
I was drinking my 62% neat yesterday, so I'm cheers to
Nice.
you, another
I
gentleman
don't
and
even know what I'm
scholar,
drinking.
and
This one
another
is the
another
one
stream in
cast
2
one.
days that is just derailing into talking about
Right.
whiskey, which I'm good with.
I'll be
I'm
right
fine with
back.
that. I like being White Cloaks adjacent. That calls better.
I need to get a refill.
So going into, we'll talk about this. I guess we'll talk about the spray now. So I believe that the chapter opens with Rand's having a dream. He's having another dream. He's in a maze, and he's running from Balsamon pretty much. And Balsamon to me he's based on his dialogue. He's basically the Emperor, but with a fiery face and a red.
He's an edgelord,
red
like
cloak.
150%.
It's like, you are now
So,
mine. You are mine in death. You are mine in life.
Like
Pooch,
I
who
would mention to Prophet, but he's like stepped away for a minute. But we did a whole ranking of the Forsaken about how cool they were, and this guy was definitely up with like Dark One adjacent.
But he's not the dark one. He's not the dark one. He's just another.
No, but he's
dreadlord.
ballsy enough to try to like come off like he is, and they think he is when they dream about him.
Yeah. So I think this is. I don't remember if this is where he gets the. If it's here where he gets the little.
It is.
little ouchie. Okay.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
On the deck of the spray, yeah.
All right. And then of course Matt's just brooding and just he's keeping to himself. Of course, I know it's because of the dagger. I've read the book before, so I just forget exactly when they uncover that the dagger is the cause of it. I'm guessing it's chapter. I don't know if it's the Camelin. I think it's when they reunite with Moraine, but. And she identifies it or something. So, but yeah, like it's cool that the Tom is just Rand and Matt are basically apprentices of his, and yeah, and so like I think Rand's playing the flute and Matt's doing all the juggling.
We're about to fully derail your stream here. Nate,
Right.
you gotta tell us. You gotta tell us. Inquiring minds want to know now that we've seen it
What are
poured
you
out.
drinking, Nathan? What are you drinking?
So this is what
How
I was
good or
talking about earlier.
terrible?
This is a cranberry juice with a screwball, and
Ah!
this is my backup in case this chokes the shit out of me.
That's good. That's a good plan. I like that.
I like it too.
Tell us about the nose. What are you getting?
What are you getting?
I'm getting fruit. I'm getting peanut butter. A little bit of bread. I'm not looking forward to this.
It's really good, like Pinot Noir, but I'm like, I'm just gonna stick to whiskey because I want to.
This is some men of the mountain home stuff here. He's putting his
Right.
body in front of the river here.
This might be something I just down after a sip.
I kind of want to see that happen.
That kind of.
Oh God. I'd rather have barbecue sauce whiskey.
Oh my
I
god.
don't know. I mean, this is I feel like I'm drinking syrup right now.
That's
Brian, you need to bring up Alex's comment there.
What?
yeah.
This one?
Alex is like, yes, Alex. We love you, Alex.
Oh, that's good.
Oh my.
I wouldn't encourage it either,
This
Alex.
this is 7 shades of shit bad.
So not a peanut butter jelly sandwich, huh?
Mm-mm.
So if I remember, so basically, what I remember from this chapter was they're basically playing. They're playing. The Tom is having them play, keeping the crew entertained, because there's always this possibility, this worry that there's going to be a mutiny, and if there's a mutiny, then they're going to get rid of them. They're either going to kill them or throw them overboard. So that's why they're kind of doing what they're doing.
Because Bail Doman is driving them hard.
Yeah. And then we have
But you know what I like is that like Matt and Rand are so willing to learn from Tom, and they really start like bonding with him, and they really trust him, and that has repercussions for later.
Yeah. And then everybody, like now Gelb, Florin Gelb, the one that fell asleep when he was supposed to be on watch, is pretty much a pariah. Nope, he's trying to. I like how he won't take any responsibility. He's like, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. And he's trying to get people to side with him. They're like, get the fuck away from me.
Like, hello,
and
Han Solo.
even the nicer people are like, they're like, get the fuck away from me. I don't want anything to do with you. So, every time Rand looks at him, he's just like like this. He's like, I'm gonna do something to you.
Yeah.
Do something to you.
The stuff that I liked about the scene with the spray, right? So it establishes that Bail Doman was being chased by Trollocs before
the spray.
He met Rand, Matt, and Tom Maryland, right? Which is an interesting an interesting notion, right? The Trollocs have been following him from Saldea, he says. So there's
because what's going on in Saldea,
stuff
Fibs?
going on
Like,
there.
who's up there? Who good is that?
Nobody important.
No, nobody.
And so that's established. There's also some good world building with there's a certain metal spire that they see along the river there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Some conversations about artifacts from the Age of Legends. You see Rand acting a little squirrely, acting a little crazy.
Yeah, he does like this. He does. I think he jumps off. He's climbed all the way to the top of the.
Yep.
I forget what it was, the crow's nest or something, and he tumbles and he does like a leap, and they're like, everybody's like, what the hell are you doing, dude?
Like, bro.
And then he didn't even realize it himself.
Yes,
that's what that is.
Who's like weird? Is it weird?
So yeah, that is important, right? So you'll learn more kind of what was going on there.
Yeah, we keep hearing about Ilian, we keep hearing about Tyr. Now I want to assume that they go to majority of the places on the map throughout the series. And I hope this is not something you're going to say read and find out.
I won't give you a read and find out on that. I will say that's a fair enough assumption that, like, I mean, over 14 books, like, you get around.
Yeah, you get around. Like, there's a few things happen in Tyr, like, nothing really important. I mean, there's like stuff there that might help people, and
Lady B is drunk. Don't listen to her. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yeah. So if I remember, I don't think they ever reveal that they're trying to get to. Yeah, they don't reveal to anyone about that they're trying to go to Tar Valon and everything. So because nobody likes Aes Sedai, Is there anybody that likes
Nope.
Aes Sedai in this book? I forget.
Agreed.
Lots of people.
Lots of people.
One Lord Agomar, who I don't think appears in the show.
Nope.
Not the real one. Please.
I think
stand
the
down.
only
I'm
other
still
time you see
waiting
an
for
Aes
this
Sedai, the only other time you meet an Aes Sedai, I believe, is in Camelin. If I remember correctly, like as an advisor to the Queen Morgus.
Yeah, you're still getting there though, right? You didn't quite get there yet.
I didn't get there yet. I
Yeah.
didn't quite get there yet. So I know.
No,
But
I just like.
I kind of remember
oh
from
my
my last
God,
read.
I'm
So.
getting so late.
So I guess we can skip to chapter 26 now, where they get to Whitebridge, and of course, they get off. I think Domon tries to offer Tom like a passage to was it Ilion?
Yep.
And
Ilion.
Tom's like considering it, and Rand's like, "No, we're going to Camelin." Rand's like, "We're going to Camelin." So they ultimately
Rand's simping for Egwene. Yep.
Yeah, and they get off the ship, and I think at this point they kick Gelb off, so Gelb is no longer welcome on the spray at all.
Yep.
So, so they end up going to the same inn. They're having that talk. They're talking. There's a little bit of tension there, and all of a sudden they're trying to keep secret of what they should. They're trying to figure out what they should do next, and all of a sudden, Gelb is there and he's calling them. He's like, "Those guys are dark friends," and they're like, "Oh shit, we gotta get out of here." And then I think before that, we learn from the innkeeper that people were asking about them, and that's where that's where the terror really sets in, and that's why they decide to sneak out. If I missed context, I think there was more to this.
I think there was a crazy man who was asking about them, right?
Yeah, there was a crazy man that was asking about them.
Yeah,
then there was another.
guy
And I think
that-
then there was I think a man in a black cloak who covered his face that was also asking about them. That made the innkeeper's hairs stick up. If I remember correctly,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the other one. So I wonder who that could be.
Or what?
Maybe the guy's blind as a bat, yet can see, or you think he would be blind as a bat, but he actually can see pretty freaking well.
All of the people in Whitebridge are apparently they have about as good a vision as the female guards in Faldara in the Wheel of Prime.
Yeah,
where they walk out and see clearly Murdral.
Mm-hmm.
It should be noted that these Murdral can all talk and they don't just screech.
Yeah.
Like that.
And they look extremely human in the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we learn about Logain. We learned that Logain's being taken to. I think that he was captured by Aes Sedai, and they're taking him to
by the Red Aja.
Tarvalon, or I always pronounce
Tarvalon.
Tarvalon via
It's,
Camelin, yeah.
I used to always say Tarvalon, but Robert Jordan actually said Tarvalon, which actually makes sense when you think he did a lot of callbacks to Arturian legends, and so Avalon was a kind of Arturian legend thing,
because
in
the audiobook the guy pronounces it as Tarvalon, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you guys have listened to that same audiobook. They're the same guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I like his Tom voice, his deep boom and Tom voice. I think it's almost like you think it was a different person doing that. So
he's great. All his voices are fantastic.
Yeah. I forget what was his name. What's the name
Michael
of the guy?
Kramer.
Michael Kramer.
Michael Kramer and Kate Reading does the other.
Does he do all the books?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else has he done besides Wheel of Time?
He's done does all Sanderson stuff too.
Oh,
I know that for a fact.
Also does Shad Brooks from
Shad Brooks, yeah.
Yeah, did Shadow the Conqueror.
Oh, really?
Pretty good. Yeah. That was
am I misremembering? Does Does Michael Kramer also do the Dresden Files? Or
No, he doesn't. I forget the name of the guy.
Never
but
mind.
He's,
Yeah.
He's
There's
amazing.
another guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing in his own right. But yeah, Kramer doesn't do Dresden.
Yeah.
I believe it's this chapter where we learn about Camelin and Queen Morgus, and I think this is where that we first learn about politics of Camelin and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it gets we hear further about the Hunt of the Horn.
Yep.
The Horn of Lair, I believe it's what it's called.
Yeah, Horn of Lair, yeah.
I mean, the big thing here, I don't know how much we want to try and kind of move this along and kind of push through.
I'm trying to get to what happens with Tom, because that part's pretty important.
Just get to it. Just go.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
Just,
so
let's
so
talk
they,
about
they sneak out. So they sneak out of the thing. They sneak out of the end. They climb through the window, and they're going. They get the disguises. They're trying to leave the town, and all of a sudden there's a fade there. Fade is there, and the fade is advancing on them. It gets to the point where Tom decides we actually learn a little bit about Tom before this happens, which is like a TV trope. When we learn something big about a character, usually something bad happens to that character. So in this case, Tom reveals that he had a nephew we learn why he hates Aes Sedai. He had a nephew that was killed by Aes Sedai. We don't know why or how or the circumstances yet. And I'm hoping that pays off later. Does it pay off?
Yeah.
You should be paying attention.
Everything pays off later. It's Wheel of Time.
You should be paying attention to all of the things people have been saying about this false dragon deleted. Because there's a lot of information there. Like, what is this guy doing? Where is he going? What has he done with his armies? Who's going to capture him?
That guy's barely an important character.
Yeah. So Tom tackles the guy.
I want to throw one thing in there. I like Robert Jordan's fake out on this. So they see Tom Maryland coming back, and Rand thinks that he's a fade because Tom Maryland has traded his coat out for like a dark brown cloak instead of his Gleeman's cloak.
Yeah,
and it shows how on edge the kids are, right?
Because they're looking far away, and it looks black where it's actually brown. Yeah, I've had that. I could relate because you could easily mistake the two.
It's one of those scenes that I feel like was made for a visual adaptation, you might say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked that little ad there. Just kind of an insight into how nervous the two boys were. And then obviously the sort of fake out aspect of it was good as well. It was well executed, I thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We were like, yeah, what's going on? But then we get the real deal. And what happens? Well, Tom decides to go and distract the fade long enough for Rand and Tom and Rand and Matt. And what's funny is a whole bunch of there's a panic ensues because of what he does. And just seeing two people attack each other is somehow a panic ensues like that. I thought that was interesting. And they run off, and they're waiting for Tom, and they're looking back, and he doesn't come. So I'm curious to know what ultimately happens, because it follows up with Nynaeve, Moraine, and I think the following chapter or a few chapters later, Nynaeve, Moraine, and Lan go to Whitebridge. And like for some reason, like half the place is burnt down. There's smoke everywhere, and I think they learn. I think they go to. I forget if they go to the same innkeeper and ask if he's seen them, and that's kind of how they figure out that they might be they're probably in Camelin.
Yep. It's kind of sad because you don't know what happened, and you're not sure what happened to Tom, and then the boys go on their own. That is so sad because you don't really know what happened. The guys just think that like Tom died. It's just like, oh my god.
Well, it creates just this wonderful air for the next few chapters of complete uncertainty for the boys.
Yeah.
They're just going to go
And
through
they're
and they're
on
going to
their
just kind
own.
of go by. Yeah, and they're scraping for themselves along the road to Camelin. The only thing that they know is, I got to get to Camelin. We got to get to Camelin.
Yeah,
We got to
using
do
everything
this.
they've been
Yeah.
What
taught.
I
Any
love
means
about that
necessary.
part, yeah, is like what you said, Steve. Is like they're putting all of their stuff that they've learned into practice. It's like Rand plays the flute, like Matt is juggling. They're trying their best to do what they've been taught, and I really like that because it's like the whole like you plant the seed and then here's your payoff. It's like, can they be like gleaming? Can they cut it for themselves? And yeah.
If I remember correctly, I don't believe that gets answered in this book.
Well, I'm sorry. What doesn't get answered?
The what happens to Tom?
Yeah.
No, I don't think
Read
so.
and find
Yeah,
out.
Read and find out.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything.
barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce.
Baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
Ribs. You've seen Austin Powers.
Barbecue sauce.
So what? How far are we? How far are we now? We got. So we got.
Nope.
So where are we at? So wanted to go back to the Tuathon really quickly. So the Tuathon, they have this ability. So right after Perrin has his dream with Balsamon, I think Elias is aware of what's happened. His instinct says, okay, we have to leave now. And then at the same time, Rain has the same thing. He's like, I think he's looking up at the sky. He's like, I think we need to move. And
Rain
so
is
they
a good
get everyone.
character.
Huh?
Rain's a good character.
Yeah, I'm.
Oh my god, I love Rand.
I'm really curious about like how he does that and everything. So I thought that was just an interesting thing, and I just felt like there was danger was looming on the horizon. So I thought it was cool going into chapter 30, and of course then we get that really crazy thing with the fox and the birds just it was pure Alfred Hitchcock. It was like pure terror. Like these birds were just like eating and pecking this fox to death, and it gets so crazy.
You know, it's
like,
kind of interesting, like for those who've read ahead, like the image of a fox getting pecked to death by crows, like
I want to say, what's up, Dovey? How you doing?
Dovey, we love you.
Ovi.
$10 for 1 mile. Oh yeah, that's a good order. Take that. That's like Taviran orders.
Yeah, because I really liked how like Perrin was getting pissed off at Elias because like Elias was like they were going in because they were in an area where there was like a lot of rolling hills and everything, and they were going around all these rolling hills in like a zigzag, if I remember correctly. And they're like, "Why are we doing this? Why can't we just go above him? You know, take the quicker." Yeah, take the quicker route. He's like, he's like, you gotta listen to me on this. So, and then we see then we see the birds, and they're flying in different directions. And of course, like I said, we see the fox getting pecked to death, and they're like, oh fuck me. And it gets real after that, and they're like, we have to run, we have to get to safety. And they're like, how are we going to get to safety? There's no, it's all open. I believe, if I remember, that entire area is open. There's only like a few, copse of trees, here and there and everything. So they're flying. Those fools are flying, as Gandalf would say. And it gets pretty, it gets to the point where they're like, we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. And Perrin is thinking, maybe I should put Egwene to death to spare her the cruel death from the ravens.
Much. It just reminds me of so many other good literature books. Like if you've ever read Beloved by Toni Morrison, you know what happens to that. Like maybe I should.
I think it also.
I won't spoil that book for you guys, but it's a good.
I think it also. It gets pointed out fairly regularly that of the three boys, Perrin is the one who is like most okay with violence, especially like related to women. I think we've talked about that on some streams before.
So
And
he's like
it's
he's
established.
questioning.
It's established early that like
he's questioning
he.
the way of the leaf. He's questioning the way of the leaf. He's like, well, what do you do if somebody pounds you?
Yeah, it's like
I was
why
taught you pound them back. Like what's going to keep
Yeah.
somebody from taking advantage of you and everything.
Right.
So yeah, I
self-defense
thought
is
that
Well,
I thought that was
separate.
interesting.
Well, and that's the thing that I most enjoy about Perrin is that all of his choices with that involve a very deep-seated morality that involves mercy. So
Yeah.
when he's sitting there thinking about this with Egwene, he's thinking about it from a perspective of that this is a mercy because I love Egwene as my friend, and I couldn't bear to have her go through what that fox just went through.
Yeah.
It's just it's one of the things that makes Perrin one of the greatest characters I've ever read personally. He doesn't sit there. He fully dedicates himself to a standard, and he's all right with that. It doesn't mean he's always put in a position where his actions line up with those standards because he sometimes doesn't get a choice to
Yeah.
go on those standards. But
Mhm.
he is one that clearly is one that makes a decision to deal with those things, and when he has to, I
Yeah.
fucking love him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
love
that
it
was
that he
great.
does that, and I love it that it's kind of like what Elias teaches him is like. I don't know if you're here yet, but he's like, you have to put it down when you start liking it, and when it's okay to you.
Yes.
Which goes into that whole thing that I am all about, which is like self-defense is a human right. But yeah,
You can
The
tell. You can
whole
tell the difference between a book written by an author who
has seen some
he
Vietnam.
killed some people, right? Like Robert Jordan killed
He
some
was a
people. I
Vietnam
think we
veteran,
can. I
wasn't
think we
he?
can say that
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
he was a helicopter door gunner, and he killed some people, right? So his writings about war and violence and things like that in this book are, I think they're really really good. I think that there's a lot of stuff. The way that he writes combat, the way that he writes kind of the introspection related to violence is just outstanding. It's kind of like, people talk about how Tolkien was so influenced by the world wars that he kind of lived through, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't get stories written by kids, and I'll include adults who just haven't lived anything, that hit the same notes. They just don't have the weight.
Yeah.
I agree. World
Yeah.
life experience, life experience in general, and that's what I think a lot of entertainment is missing.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, like when you sit there and you listen to quotes or read quotes that you have from Land, from Elias, from Master Gill, and all these other real good, strong male role models in the show, and what they have to say, and to sit there and say, have Elias sit there, it's like, you'll put it down when you learn to.
You
I mean,
put
it's
it
just
down when you start to
it's
like
it's
it.
there. Yeah, these things have some real deep-seated meaning to the core, and it hits a
So good.
it it is, and it's based out of it's based out of the good side of masculinity that comes out of the necessity of having to do these things because you're in the position of doing those things. It's not sitting there, it's not flying the flag of masculinity or femininity or whatever, that likes to get done today. It's just saying this is the reality of what you have, and you got to deal with it. And if you've got to use the axe, you've got to use the axe, because what's going to happen if you don't? And if you don't, the consequences are going to kill your soul a lot deeper than if you pick it up and use it. And it's just when
Yeah,
you
I thought that
want
was.
to use
I
it, it's
thought that was.
totally different.
I thought that was great. He's ashamed. Like Perrin is ashamed to use the axe, and Elias is
I
like,
love
that's
that
good
about
because it's when you're
Perrin.
not, this when you need to throw it down, when you need to throw it away,
Yeah.
and
And
run the other direction.
yeah, and the way that Elias prompts this discussion out of him, is freaking brilliant, because he notices it right off the bat, and then he looks at him and says, "You hate her that much?" It's like when he knows, I don't think Elias thinks that he actually does. It's Elias wants him to bring it out of him, to actually get him to communicate that. And that whole scene's a really poignant moment for Perrin, I think.
Yeah. I love that part of
he actually
Perrin,
wrote.
and
He
that's
wrote
why
that. Wait, he wrote that. I'm looking at the chat right now. Robert Jordan wrote that.
Alex is playing some playful paraphrase, but Robert Jordan is pretty freaking based though. Let's you know.
So he was doing blogs when he was
Yep.
still with us.
Yeah,
I think
the
he
Robert
passed away.
Jordan
He
blog
passed away in
spot.
07 or 08. I think he passed away in 07, didn't he? Yeah, I think it was 07.
Around that
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Well,
So
and when you think about it too, I mean, he was one of the guys when he came back from Vietnam. He was one of those guys that was getting sped on and chastised for being a part of the war. It's just, he went through some shit with the hippies.
Yeah, I want to find these. I want to read these now. Now that I'm reading Robert Jordan, I'm interested in reading what he had to say.
Yeah, he's
I read enough
story.
George R. R. Martin to barf. So when I cared about Song of Ice and Fire, so Mr. Conscientious Objector is what he was. It was what he was. So
yeah. Well, that's kind of how I felt, because I was reading like at the same time I was reading like Wheel of Time. I was reading like some of my family's recollections from when they lived in Ukraine, and they lived in the Ukraine during the time of the Holodomor, which was when the USSR was like doing genocide on the people in Ukraine. And it was really interesting to see like how my family was sort of like, they were the way of the leaf, and it was like it didn't always help them. And I'm just like, so that was an interesting parallel for me to read. Was seeing a real life parallel and then seeing like how Robert Jordan handled it. It was very interesting to me as a writer.
I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed reading that portion of reading these things that we're talking about in the book. So just to get back on track here, so they're running away from the birds. The birds are about to get them, and all of a sudden the birds just fly away. And we find out that they're in a place called what's it called? A steading.
They're yeah, that's really interesting.
Steading, where there's no influence from, I don't think, any outside source. So like that includes the one power, whatever they call it.
One power.
Yeah.
So anything controlled by like I think Shadow Spawn and those birds, the ravens and whatnot, like they're like the only thing that could put them in danger in the steading is man. In other words, Pips's people. So
remember what I said about how the evil of Shadar Logoth is still around in the world, and Perrin is going to sniff it out.
You know what I like about this study, because it was something that goes back to like Brandon Sanderson lectures, is that it's not like the magic that's cool, it's the limitations of magic that make it really interesting. And I think the idea of a steading is really interesting. It'll definitely be used by people in the future, but I like the idea that there's a place that's like a dead zone for like the true one power.
The rules, like the limitation, the rules is what I think, like you said, is what makes the magic system, or so to speak, interesting. I have very little experience with reading magic system or understanding magic systems in books. Like the only magic I've ever dealt with was playing Zelda, and just shooting fire or whatever ability and everything. So.
Yeah, I mean, so Sanderson is a big fan of hard magic systems. The Wheel of Time has a pretty soft system of magic.
Yeah.
And I think it's because, the stuff that Robert Jordan was exploring was mostly the human stuff, right?
Yeah. I like that.
And so the magic existed and like it served purposes, but generally speaking, the actual struggle between good and evil was not, the lightning bolts getting cast around. It was sort of mano a mano,
Yeah. And, so like here where the studying, I believe was put together by the Ogier, if I remember correctly, or
yeah,
am
the
I
Ogier.
wrong? Okay.
There were places the Ogier built their like steadings, and you know what's really interesting in this book, and I'm just going to talk about something else that I read by Jordan, which was the Warrior of the Altai, or Altai. Alatai. I'm going to say this right. I've had too much whiskey, but it's a really interesting book that he wrote before he wrote Wheel of Time. And if you go and read into that, there's a lot of like seeds that became Wheel of Time. But one of the things that he deals with there is this sort of like interdimensional space time travel, which he definitely put into the idea of the Ogier with the steading. And you can just read and find out more about the Ogier. But it definitely, you could see how he developed that in that work. And that's really fun if you like Conan and you like Wheel of Time, because it's kind of a mesh of both.
I do have the first book. I do have the first book in my Kindle. I haven't read it yet. Conan the Cimmerian, Robert E. Howard.
Yeah, I haven't read his
read
Conan stuff, but this was just something he wrote as Robert Jordan. And it was called Warrior of the Altai, like Alati apostrophe I.
Is that pretty much all he's been known for, Robert Jordan, the Wheel of Time series and writing Conan stories, writing Conan the Barbarian stories? Okay.
He wrote another historical fiction series under another name. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head.
Okay. But yeah, I believe the place that they're in, the setting, we learned that this was like they find like an eye, they find like a rock that looks like an eye or something, and I think was it Elias or someone recollects the story of Arthur Hawkwing, another dragon, I believe, if I remember correctly, that hated Aes Sedai and I think besieged Tar-Valon and everything, and I think he died because he refused to be treated by an Aes Sedai. I'm sure there's more to that, but that there was a war. It sparked a very long 100 years war that I couldn't help but think of a real European war of the same name.
There's more about Arthur Hawkwing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That gets real deep.
In this chapter, or are you talking
destined
later?
to marry the man who's seen Hawkwing's face. There's some good stuff.
I love how Elias puts Egwene in her place in this discussion. She's like, "Oh, this, and this." He's like, "Oh, really? Shut up, bitch."
Because
Yeah.
so Egwene is such an insufferable bitch. Like I just really started to realize it in this book, and it's like even when it's like the first night that they spend away, and like they're in that like tree fort thing, and like she's just like, oh really, Moraine, teach me all this stuff, and I think that's when Rand realizes he's lost her. I was just rereading that part right now.
She does come across like I didn't really catch it in my first read, but the more and more I went through it and then go through in your reread, you really catch on how much of an entitled person she is. And she's going through this for the excitement, and it's all about herself. She's not wanting to sit there and go through the adventure to save the two rivers, to save everything else. It's I'm doing this, and bye, Brian.
Wrong
I think we might have
button. I think wrong button, maybe that or internet.
All right, guys, we've been here before on my my Jaws stream with him. The show must go on.
Right. Yeah, but in any case, to sit there and reread Egwene, she does become more insufferable in the second reread.
Yeah,
she sucks.
This is my first reread, and I'm just like, Egwene is a bitch.
And that's the thing too, is Robert Jordan intentionally wrote her that way. So I mean, it's just a good way to consistently write an individual, and not, she's a good on the good side of things, but she's a complete bitch doing the whole thing. And so it's like, you root for her to win elements of this stuff, but you don't root for her as a person.
Yeah, it's hard to do that, especially given like I like how she goes out. Like that was a good way for her to like go, but I have to say, as a woman,
you gotta limit these spoilers. Come on now, come on.
I mean, he's dropped, but he's got to release this.
He'll come back. Nosferatu in the chat. Godporeal's darkest secret is that he's actually only demi-Godporeal. Shh. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell
Well,
anyone that I
This
told
is also
you
coming
that.
from the guy that said Twilight's greater than Wheel of Time. So
Boo that man.
Nope. Yeah,
Uh,
you know what I like
I
about
love that reference.
I have to say I like about Robert Jordan is he did understand women, because I've been reading this as a woman and I'm just like, yeah, women are really insufferable. They're really mean to each other, and it's like you definitely see the kind of stuff that goes on in the White Tower later on, and like the interpersonal relationships with women. I can relate.
I
That's
will
why
say,
I'm all like, if I had a choice, I'd go live in the Black Tower because
all right,
it's
all
cooler
right.
over there.
Lady
and yeah,
B, Lady B, here's my question for you.
What?
Do you think that Robert Jordan wrote women well?
Yes.
Because I hear
Oh.
that is one of the chief complaints by certain so-called fans, that they think that, oh, you know, he didn't
Well,
write
they're
women well.
dark friends,
I think
and
by
they need to
so-called
go
fans,
like
did they all
talk
have
to
blue
the
hair?
questioner.
some of them may or may not. Yeah, they might have shaved it all off, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got cut off. Like
He's back.
like Jaws and everything.
Yep,
So
yep.
yeah, only thing is I knew how to. I had to restart my computer because of this. So that's why it took me longer than expected. So
It's
so
okay.
what were
we
you guys talking about?
shit about you.
What were you guys talking about?
I'm talking about book 13.
Nothing, sir. We didn't see you playing with your dolls again, sir.
You're poor. You're such a strong. You're such a strong. You're such a strong. You got such a strong. Guns right there.
The helmet. It's so.
So big.
Yeah,
and
that is
round.
interesting that Gadfly Fiction
I love you. I hate
pointed
you. I
out
love
that
you.
like Egwene is still an immature child. And what is really interesting about this whole series is like they're all about like around 20 years old at this time, and that the whole series of 14 books is only like 2 years. That's insane.
Yeah, I have trouble
Oh, not
wrapping my head
again.
around it, but that's because it takes me more than a year to read 2 or 3 of them. But it's
No, I
I'm a
agree
slow
with you.
reader.
When I was reading it, because I binge read these things, I binge read them over like a month and a half, maybe. And I was just like, how is this like 2 years? And the only thing that really clued me into the passage of time is something that happens to Elaine. And if you've read it, I think you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
So where were we?
we were talking about. Well, we were talking about. So they're in the steading, and we learned a little bit about Arthur Hawkwing. So now they're being. I think they noticed that there's white cloaks are coming. White cloaks are coming, and they're trying to hide, and they try to flee. They separate from Elias, and I forget where exactly they're hiding somewhere. And the white cloaks find them, and I think Perrin attacks. Kills 2 of them, if I remember correctly, with the axe.
Yeah.
And then after they get captured. They get captured.
Yeah, and
subdued.
this is a great example of was he actually was it self-defense, or was he trying to do something else? And this plays all the way out until the later books, which is awesome.
Okay, I can't wait.
I won't say more.
But yeah, so like the Hopper, one of the wolves, Hopper, gets killed, and and then Perrin just goes nuts and just starts killing, and then he goes nuts, and then from our point of view, he just goes unconscious, and we find out he wakes up, he's bounded, and he's being questioned by Jeffrey Bornhold, the father of Dane Bornhold. And I like Jeffrey. I thought in this chapter awesome. He came off as pretty menacing. Like I was imagining, maybe it's my Star Trek history, but I was imagining like a Ricardo Montalban just type of delivery of his lines and everything. He's like, you are going to be hanged, and I'm sorry, but you are going to be hanged, and I'm a door.
Yeah. But it's menacing in a kind of a different way, though. I mean, he was level-headed, and I think that's part of because you had Child Buyer there being the exact opposite kind of foil for that. So he clearly came across as the more level-headed of the individuals.
I liked how he
you
was telling he was trying to school child buyer on like just on the idea of
Well, I
being
think-
zealot.
Yes.
And
I think it's his. I
he
think
talks
it's.
about his son.
I think
Is
it's
it like
Jeff
a
from
prime example?
Stature. You know, he's obviously a stand-up guy, and he knows what he's talking about. And you know, he's not really. I don't know. He's just like. I guess he's the model white cloak. If I would to like, you know.
And I
think.
like how like even with this
Yeah.
guy Buyer, even with this menacing dude Buyer, like he is like the way he reacts every time Jeff from talks to him and everything. Like he can put like some fear into his men, even the more even the more dangerous ones, like for instance Buyer.
Did we already talk about Hopper or
Yeah,
or
can we
no?
talk about Hopper? That was sad.
Hopper died. Hopper's gone, but not forgotten.
Oh,
That was tragic.
definitely
That
not
was sad.
forgotten.
Yeah.
Definitely not
Rip
forgotten.
Definitely
King,
not.
Rip King Hopper.
Definitely
But
not
it's
forgotten.
okay. There's other places where Hopper can exist, but we'll read and find out.
Hopper's the Chad among wolves.
He was a Chad. Rip King. I have no more drink, but
Yeah, I'll drink for you there, lady.
thank you.
Work's gonna suck tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the peanut butter and jelly. I'm regretting that choice.
That
So
seems
I-
like a dark friend drink.
So I
It
heard you guys
seriously
talking
is.
about child buyer. Sorry, I had to step out and fill myself up this here. But child buyer, yeah. So that was
He's a bit of a
the
dick.
guy. That was the guy I was talking about with the sort of a little bit of the fall of Arid Hall kind of still existing in the world, and he's gone again. He's gone again.
Man.
I wonder what's
So how
going
do you
on
feel
with
about
this
White
connection.
Wait a minute,
Cloak, Steve?
hold on. Brian falls off, and then Prophet comes back on. Do we ever
Yeah, I
see these
killed
two
him.
guys in the same
Sorry.
time at the same place? I mean,
Yeah, I got my
my
Nerdporeal
God.
mask on. Yeah,
is
sorry.
Prophet Nerdporeal or is Nerdporeal Prophet?
Yeah, the same
This,
guy.
they're
He's a
conjoined
puppet.
streaming twins.
Yes.
Yeah, he's right around the corner there. I keep kicking him in the shins. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, so it's like
Is that what's going on
it's like
right
going
here?
to Moria.
Yeah, I just kicked this tower over. Shit. Sorry, man. Sorry, bro.
I don't know what it is. I honestly don't know what it is. So we're pretty much up to chapter 30 and everything. So so like I like how before we I think that maybe this might be a good place to end it. So so Perrin
Can we just
is
talk about how badass the White Cloaks are?
sure.
They're
Wow.
not.
The White-
Wait.
The
White
whole
Cloaks did
Reddit
nothing
section
wrong.
of the book, the whole
The White
White
Cloaks-
Cloak, or the Reddit section of that book is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, the White Cloaks did
the
nothing
Reddit
wrong.
section of that book.
No, they didn't. And you learn that like later on.
They did
You
plenty
realize
wrong.
that-
Don't be fooled.
Only that they didn't kill enough of those witches. They should have killed more.
Yeah.
They should have killed. They should have
It's-
won bid like they were in the show.
the leaky. They're almost the Aes Sedai are just a little bit leakier as an organization as the White Cloaks. There's just a few more dark friends in there than the White Cloaks.
Ah!
I disagree with that. I think
I
that
think they all have their equal share.
That's
of
something a dark friend would
It's
say
like-
for sure.
Well,
I
no.
agree.
The White Cloaks have the least amount of dark friends because, like, the White Cloaks only have one dark friend that is kind of like, is it even a dark friend? Because is this person like totally involved with the dark one? But like the White Tower and the Black Tower each have their own like Forsaken. So
Yeah, because those are powerful organizations. The White Cloaks aren't.
and the White Cloaks get kind of like the outlier.
Just saying,
But-
the White Cloaks are just sort of a
I don't
pesky
know.
gnat.
I don't know. There's only one sort of wetlander army that you know. Shoot, I can't talk about that. You know what? You're trying to
we
trick me into
can't.
talking about
We're-
spoilers. You're trying to trick me into talking about spoilers.
There's a
You're
there's a
tossing
whole
this shade
offshoot of
over
the
here.
White Cloaks that is full
You're-
of dark friends. That's all.
You're
I'm gonna
tossing
say.
this shade over here, and I can't even defend myself because Nerdporeal's here. Nerdporeal earmuffs. Put your earmuffs on. I gotta fight it out with the prophet over here.
But
Yeah,
what
we're
about
gonna have
the
a-
White Cloaks that eat those little birds with the beaks and everything? Oh
Yeah,
wait, that
those
was
guys,
that was the show.
Yeah, those guys. Yeah.
Don't get me started on that.
the
That's an
French
entire
White
rant.
Cloaks.
The Orderlanes. Doing
French
things
White
that
Cloaks,
God,
yeah.
they need to
The
hide
White
themselves
Cloaks with
from the eyes of
crucifixes.
God.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. That's disgusting.
The Templar White Cloaks.
I know that Nerdporeal's sitting over there thinking like white cloaks with crucifixes. That would make no sense in fantasy. And like, what are we even talking about? A cross, a crucifix on white cloaks? And yet, yes.
The disgusting things in Hollywood white books that I am totally like not going to get talking about because that's not YouTube friendly.
Elaborate armor of the shoulder.
Yeah. So
I hate this show. Fuck that show.
So you think
Brian, thank you for bringing us together to talk about these books, and then we just talk about the show anyway. Probably because this lady Balefire lady, she comes over here, she talks about the show all the time. Just
Such a nerd.
Shut up, Pips. Go eat some oats.
So
don't you have a race soon?
Yeah. So
he doesn't.
So Perrin is Perrin is captured. Egwene is captured. Parents gonna be put to death once they get to Andor, not the show.
Amador.
Sorry,
Amador.
did I say what did I say? Andor.
Yeah,
they're close.
Yeah.
Isn't Andor is a place? Yeah,
Andor is
I don't think they're very close. One's from a galaxy far away, and the other one's here.
Yeah.
So another turning of the wheel.
I liked how he's like we're not here to we're here to help you. Like I like how Bornhold's like we're here to help you, and he's saying this to Egwene, but he's like, but for you, you have a problem. You are going to be put to death, or you're going to be put on a gibbet once we get to Amador. I have Ricardo Montalban in my mind when I think of the final the line that he says right before the end of the chapter. So it's pretty chilling. I liked it. So now that Perrin's captured, the Perrin and Egwene are captured. Rand and Matt are alone now. They're on their own. I was hoping to get into this, but I guess we'll have to do that next time. I really want to get into how like Rand and Matt have to survive on their own. I think with Pips isn't that what you said? Really, you really got to you or something, or was it someone else that said that? I'm trying to remember who said that. That you thought was what allured you into the series. The fact that they had to learn to be on their own and everything.
That was not me.
Yeah,
that was not you.
I mentioned that, but that was just one of those things where you it's these two kids who have really the only thing that they've got going for them right now is the knowledge is that they have to get to Camelin, and they've got to trust the fact that they're going to run into everybody else at Camelin. But other than that, they've got nothing else to go on. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and they have like no skills whatsoever, but the skills that they do have, they like use to the most that they can, because like when they're going on the road to Camelin, it's like Matt and Rand are like they're trying as hard as they can. Rand's playing his flute, like Man's juggling. It's like, how do you not like that? How do you not like people trying to make the best of their shitty situation?
Absolutely. It's just picking yourself up and dealing with it. It's freaking awesome. It's the best way to learn in life. Then going on what Jeff from Bornhold said with
Nerdporeal froze again, or he's just not breathing.
He's being very still. He's hunting west-wooded rabbits.
He's listening very intently.
He's stoic like Pippin, not in the show.
Too bad he didn't freeze making that face. That would have been
right. I wonder what's going on. Like, is there a tornado going through this area? What the hell?
We need the guy Poreal face to freeze next time.
Yeah, the meme that I made for him on Galadriel's horse.
Very classic. Very classic.
Yes, I'm. That's my one. That's my Rembrandt.
Truly.
You know what I love about rereading this book is just realizing how good the storytelling is and how good that or how much thought Robert Jordan put into it. And I'm just like, as I write my own book, I'm just like, it's so amazing to see how much foreshadowing he did. And it's like, could I do that? Like, do I even know my own thoughts? Like, to even do that? It's really spectacular. It's such a great piece of work. And I think it's where it might not be amazing in terms of the actual writing, like I think it's really strong point is its structure. I mean, you could read every book, and every book is structured really well. That it's like its own adventure, and it wraps up within the book.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone is a huge fan of the sort of like purple kind of prose that Robert Jordan definitely kind
he's
of delves
very
into.
purpley with that, but
That's my wife struggles a lot with his writing style.
I did
but,
first when I read it, because I'm just like, he's describing like so much, like, can we get on with the story? But at the same time, it's like I kind of fell into it, and I like reading it.
Yeah,
It's comforting.
But you go back and you read Eye of the World, and you see Matt get a catch pole around his neck, and you're just like, man, stuff's happening.
You know what really got me was like when Bran starts talking about, like, he's thinking about like the Madrals that he thought, but he ends up saying something that references like shaman, like later, like men in black coats, and I'm just like, what? But I know because I read it before what he's talking about. I'm like,
so the going back on the Jeffrey Bornhold thing, because Nerdporeal got kicked out again. When
sorry
he's
about
sitting there, oh no, dude, you're good. You're good. When he pronounces sentence on Perrin that they're going to Amador because he's got to pay for killing the two White Cloaks, there was almost a sense of as the discourse went on between the three of them and then Child Bayar on the side. I always got the sense of reading Jeffrey Bornhold as he's regretting that he has to do this. I mean, he's bound by the regulations of the White Cloaks to sentence him to death for the killing of these two White Cloaks, because he doesn't really get the sense that Perrin's a bad guy, but he just has to pay for. He has to have the consequence of his actions.
Or is this coming from later on?
It's coming from that
chapter. It's coming from the chapter for me.
Like, he doesn't want to pronounce the sentence,
doesn't want to kill
and then
Perrin.
you see his son Dane get like so freaking like obsessed with this like revenge plot, because he's like, oh, you killed my father and all this stuff that happens later on, and then it ends up going all the way into chapter 14.
I heard nothing.
And it kind of like or book 14, and it kind of goes with another person that thinks somebody did something to his mother, and it's kind of a parallel, and it's like, who's going to see what it like,
and then,
what the right things to do.
And then Inigo Montoya shows up and he says, "You killed my father. Prepare to die."
That's right.
So
you're missing the part where he keeps on asking Perrin if he has 6 fingers on his left hand.
That's true. The thing with Joffrey Bornhold, like if you were doing, your sort of D&D alignment, right? Joffrey Bornhold is very much lawful good, right?
Yeah,
like,
he is. He really is.
He is legitimately a good person.
He is.
And he honestly, I think his convictions are in the right place, to the extent that we've talked about the White Cloaks, not actually being the bad guys of the series.
Look, if all the White Cloaks were like him and oh god, there's another standout. Not Padronal.
There's a couple of them.
There's a couple White Cloaks that are genuinely, and obviously whoever the person that takes over, but there's
Chad.
There's a few in there that if the White Cloaks actually were honor bound the way that these guys were and saw the world they did, the White Cloaks would be like the best organization on the planet. But unfortunately, there's a lot of sheep in there mixed in between.
Yeah,
Alex is being so good in chat today.
Perrin has a wife.
No,
this is a watch and find out. Watch and find out. Bring
with watch and find out, so you drink water.
Bring some bleach to spray in your eyes.
Oh
yeah, I hated that part of the show. It's like, what is the point? Why does he have a wife? Why does he kill her? Why is that like...
the more pertinent question with the show is, what part of the show did you like?
I like the part where it ended.
There we go.
I like the part where for a minute I thought, you know what? I bet Logan is the hero of this story. Where he goes on about like, I just wanted to make people free and I wanted to stand up for what was right. And then 2 seconds later he like cucks to the light
He's
tower.
crying.
I liked the part where I thought Moraine was going to be stilled and was not going to be in the rest of the show.
I like the part when I turned off the TV.
Oh, that's
It was
the best
awesome.
part.
You were fooled.
That's the best part.
She was almost stilled and is now going to be the only character on the screen. So
yeah,
I nearly
Fooled
chose
you.
that. I nearly chose that audiobook, by the way.
Oh, you no!
Oh.
I would not be able to talk to you if you had done that.
Oh man.
What's the name of the actress again?
Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund Pike.
Yeah.
Right?
And I was like, I looked at the
She's
other
a
one. I saw the other
no
one was-
talent hack. That's who she is.
I saw the older. I looked at the other one and I was like, I think I'm gonna go with this one. I prefer the original
Yes.
because I heard mixed things about the
don't
new
listen.
one.
You're talking about the audiobook? Don't even
Yeah.
bother. Don't even
Rosamund
bother.
Pike does terrible like voices. She does like all these weird little like voices for each of the characters, and
Oh, I hate that.
she cannot do voices for male characters. They are awful.
You'd be doing yourself a great disservice not listening to Kate Redding and Michael Kramer. They bring life to the words. They really
As much
do.
as
They're an amazing group.
as much as they do
with
mispronounce a
audiobooks.
lot of words.
Yeah, but we forget whatever. Don't care.
Did she do Eye of the World?
She wouldn't care.
I don't think she's an Eye of the World. I just think I can't pronounce anything. I don't care.
I didn't hear any female voices. So.
No, I don't think she does Eye of the World. I think
At least it's
she
better
does with the Nynaeve perspective chapters.
Okay.
Does she? Okay. All right.
Yep, she does.
Only
So-
a few then. Yeah.
So guys,
Yeah.
I have to apologize for not being prepared enough. I feel like I kind of let you guys down on this one. So
Oh, whatever.
the next
We got drunk and rowdy. That's our fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Like
No.
cloaking it.
I think I should have.
I had a peanut butter and jelly drink.
You couldn't have possibly prepared for that.
Okay, well
You're always preparing. Stop preparing. Just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing
You're
is,
good, dude.
the thing is, the thing is, there's so much detail with Robert Jordan, especially with these chapters. So much is being introduced. I forgot a lot of it, and I have the wiki. I have the wiki up. Trying to remember this shit. So excuse my language. But I feel like I should have prepared more. Should have had like notes and talking points and everything.
Dude, I do that a lot with everything. Like my memory's a sieve. It takes like conversation to get my brain going again before I remember stuff. So
yeah,
I have
and the
fibromyalgia,
stupid internet
like,
too.
I don't
So.
even have excuses.
So I really appreciate you guys coming on and spend your Sunday nights talking with me, doing this when you could be doing many other things. So I want to ask. I want to start with Pips. What's going on with the White Cloaks? Alex, what are you guys doing? Like now that you guys have pretty much completed a how long? 6 month marathon with
6 months.
with the Wheels of Prime or the Prime of Wheels or whatever the fuck it's called.
Wheel of Prime.
Yeah,
The Wheel of Vagina.
6 months. 6 months. It's finally over. And now our rewatch has ended. And we finished recording it on the Discord yesterday, right? And am I off on my days? I think yesterday. I've been
Yes, that
I've
was
been pretty-
yesterday.
I've been pretty sauced consistently for the last 6 months, so it's a little hard to keep track. So expect that to drop probably Thursday. That'll drop for those of you who are watching the rewatch. Which thank you guys again for the support. We have a lot of overlap, I think, with some of the great channels that are here on Nerdporeal's kind of Eye of the World stream here. So thank you guys all for your support and watching that. And then projects coming up. Steve and I still have to cover the actual trash fire that was the announcements at the New York Comic-Con that we have the recording of, and we need to do a stream.
Lord.
We need to do a stream and cover that stuff. We got a couple other stream ideas, and then going into the new year, I have a plan with some of these familiar faces. You might see them again. We might be covering some other great fantasy series, potentially starting with some works of Tolkien. So we got some other plans in the works, and then I'd really like to start turning to and doing some good Wheel of Time book related content. So we'll probably do some of that. But yeah, we're filling the time until season 2's cancellation gets announced.
I hope it never airs.
Oh,
No, it's gonna
that'd be
air.
so awesome.
By the
It's
hope
gonna
of my
happen.
rebirth and
They're
salvation,
filming
I
3
hope it never
already.
airs.
It's already.
They're not going to finish the filming 3. I think that they'll finish filming 3. They'll cancel it after 2.
So did they announce
Vampire it.
season 3?
They
Yeah,
did
they
announce season 3, but it was there's a conspiracy theory element to the season 3 announcement that people think that the announcement for season 3 was a fake announcement, that they haven't really committed to anything. They haven't started actually putting any resources behind season 3, that it's just they said they're doing a season 3 in order to try and drum up support for season 2. But that they might still back out of season 3 if season 2 ends up doing as poorly as we would expect it to.
Well, and that announcement too came hot on the heels of, or right before, Rings of Power got released, and so they were trying to capitalize on all this Amazon influx that didn't really happen.
You're all in denial. It's gonna happen.
So
I hate you so much for saying that, Steve. I love you, brother, but I hate you so much.
But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Maybe not 4, but 3 will happen. Sorry.
All right, so let's all be nice and say hello to Zombie Man, a member of the Nerdporeal Continuum.
What's up, Zombie Man?
Hey, Zombie Man. I don't have
I had three
cheers.
drinks, and now I'm drinking iced coffee or iced latte to dilute the stuff, to dilute the poison.
To delete the barbecue.
That barbecue sounded real terrible. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
It tasted
almost
like
as bad as peanut butter whiskey.
It tasted like syrup. That didn't even taste like whiskey.
Hey, I sent
I
you
was
that.
drinking like cough syrup,
I sent you the New
barbecue
Year.
flavored cough syrup.
Oh my
Better
god!
than
really?
Eileen's. Oh my god, those things are disgusting.
I sent you those clips, right? The New York Comic Con stuff. All
You
that
did,
bullshit?
yeah. Yep. We got it. We just, now that the rewatch is over, we need to dive into that at some point.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I can't wait for those lore videos, Pips. Can't wait. I can't wait.
I got some plans on some ones. I'd like to cover all the major battles in the books. I have some relevant expertise in laying down some tactical overlays with appropriate troop indications and formations and stuff. So might try my hand at putting out some ops terms and graphics on a map and laying it out.
Ooh,
nice.
That sounds freaking
get
awesome.
Get one of those war games programmed and just assign characters.
Yeah, the Total War
I have toyed with the idea of using Total War or another one of those to try and do it as like videotape it. I just need to find the appropriate DLC that'll allow me to use magic users. Another option there, and then sometime I'll hit Dempsey up for some sweet background music.
Yeah,
he's rocking some awesome music on his channel. So you should go check out Dempsey, by the way. Unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
That drunk poet guy. He's got drunk in his name. He's got to be a good dude.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I recommended him. He's gonna. I told Ryan Roger Ethe is gonna do a rising star on him. So here you go. He's gonna be a rising star. He's gonna join. He's gonna join the club. So no thanks necessary, Dempsey. So what about you? Nathan? What's going on with you?
Right now, absolutely nothing except for this. November's just a crazy month, so I'm glad that you've had me on to join in this conversation. This has been a blast.
I was surprised you came as early as you did. Like I didn't think you were going to come to like at least 8 Central time.
I got home a lot quicker than I thought I was going to be able to, so I was very, very thankful that I was able to. So just participating in this discussion, having a good time talking about a damn good book. It's just been fun, and looking forward to getting some other things off the ground once the holidays kind of get through. I'm planning on doing my own version of what a season 1 should look like, and doing a little video series on that. And so that should be kind of a good time. But that's off in a bit in the future. So until then, I'm just looking forward to our Sunday nights here, and then jumping into some Lord of the Rings stuff with Pips, and possibly some Cosmere stuff with Steve over there. And then in next year, doing some Bruce stuff with Lady B over there.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Speaking of perfect segue, what's going on with you, Lady Balefire?
Well, I just started a new job, and I'm kind of doing a new DoorDash with Dovey. Thank you, Dovey, for getting me started on that. But I kind of have to figure out what's the best time for me to do it. So I'm gonna still aim to do one video a week, and I still have to catch up on all of my hot D videos. So I'm what I would have done if I made this series, all the stuff I didn't like about the show, and I probably focus on that. And I do need to start live streaming, and I'm still working on the Logain Train show, so that will be coming up. And I do want to do Two Rivers Tuesday and just talk to a bunch of really cool Wheel of Time fans that have met that do very Two Rivers stuff, like Nathan over there with his homebrews, and also Gadfly Fiction in the chat, who is a homebrewer too. So I thought that would be kind of fun if we could tie our real life hobbies into something that we all really love to talk about too. So
what about us?
Kind of
What about us, lowly joke car pilots?
Oh yes, I will definitely have the joke car pilots, because I know you're secretly a farmer too, Peps. You're straight up
not
Two Rivers.
Not so.
Shh. I know you saved my tomato crop, the last part of my tomato crop, so. But I'll have stuff out this week. I'll have at least one video, so.
Sweet. Steve, my streaming brother.
I don't know. I got nothing.
No rankings. No rankings.
No, it's something eventually. I'll do that. So since Aldan mentioned it, and so did Daniel, eventually we'll do a best moments stream. I don't know that you can really tier rank them if they're the best moments.
Yeah, that's
it's hard to tier rank.
The Forsaken video was so fun. I had such a great time doing that, even though Alex made me get up at the butt crack of dawn so we could watch sports ball, but I still had a great time. That was a fun video. Y'all should watch it.
Even though you guys got Grandall totally wrong.
Yeah, she should have been on the bottom, way down there.
Should have been S tier. Should have been S tier.
No, she's terrible. She's horrible. I think she's perfect right where she is. But yeah.
That's just because you're intimidated by her huge tracts of land.
No.
Come at me, bro.
No. Because she sucks.
Come at me, bro.
That's the perfect excuse for that. It's not because she did this. That's how I feel about her, and I feel she sucks. So she went in the right place for me. So, so I don't know. It'd be sort of hard to tier rank best moments. I mean, I guess we could try or just talk about them, because not only they're a bunch, but it's just you're gonna say Dumai as well. Is he gonna say the Stone of Tear, all that, you could, what's that? What X?
Perrin X.
What about it? There's another one. Yeah. You got the hammer crafting, you got the
you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
There's a million best moments, and I just don't know how you would tier rank them. It's okay, great,
it almost
greater, greatest. What's that?
Because I know what mine was, but my favorite moment was something that means something to myself personally. So you might have to get the person there to explain it, because I think it would mean a lot for different people.
Well, yeah, identifying personally with touching moments in books. Boo, boo.
Yeah, I know. There's a million of them. Just even in the first freaking 2 books. 3 books. I don't know. You could list them forever. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do it with a tier list. Even I don't know, or just listing them. I don't know. So I want to do it because it'll be fun, and we get to talk about all these awesome moments. And then obviously we got we're doing the peripheral thing. I don't know why we're still doing it, but we're doing the peripheral thing. for that.
I was so
It's just
disappointed
funny at
when
this
you guys
point.
said that the last episode is bad.
Oh man,
I still haven't
You
seen
still
it
haven't
yet.
seen, still haven't watched
Still
it
haven't
yet?
seen it yet, and I'm kind of like, do I even want to drag my wife in? Like
I
we
know.
watched the first
Yeah,
4
that's what
episodes,
I
and then
was
you guys are like,
thinking.
it's trash, and I was like,
well,
do
I guess it depends. Did you like episode 4?
not as much as the previous episodes.
There you go. 5 is trash. If you feel that way, because that's exactly how we felt about 4. 5 is horrible, and for some reason the peripheral hates glass. I don't know why they want to blow up every pane of glass there is, and if it's glass, they will destroy it. I don't know why. I don't get it, but like they won't shoot people. People don't get shot, but glass, it's free fucking game. They're gonna blow it all up.
Brian, that has to go.
So
That has to
retarded.
go in the last time on the.
It's the truth. I don't know what it is. I even made a
It's
short
gonna
of
be a
it. The whole
15-minute intro if you.
the whole fucking episode is just blowing
It's the
glass
peanut
up
butter jelly shot.
and not killing people. I don't understand it. So,
How
so we're
about
doing
that,
that.
Rubber arm.
Oh, and then you got rubber arm. Yeah, rubber arm and rubber necker. And then you got flippy kicks and all kinds of stuff at the end. The girl boss fight
Showdown
gone
at
wrong.
Forever 21. That was funny.
Yeah, that was God. So bad. I guess me, Zax, and Nerdporeal are in for a penny, in for a pound. I guess on that one. So
And there's
You guys
still
are just
three,
being
and there's
funny.
still 3
there's
episodes
still
left.
3
Yes.
left. Oh,
It's funny how
man.
we kind of like.
I
I'll
need
be
to
honest.
tune in.
I'll be honest. I did not. I fell asleep watching the first episode. The show didn't grab me, but I just kept watching it just because, FOMO, fear of missing out. I wanted to, do this with Steve. Steve's been
It's like hot
Steve's
D&D.
really helped me with House of the Dragon and we Better Call Saul and everything. So I wanted to. This was his thing, and so I wanted to, be supportive
sorry,
and
bro.
everything.
I'm so sorry.
And it's not your fault. It's not your
2 and
fault.
3 were the best of the series at this point.
Steve, it's not your fault.
One had a little. One had a little bit of setup to do. 2 and 3, I think, grabbed me,
Yeah.
and then 4 was kind of like, okay. And then I just happened to catch part of your stream there.
Well, Dempsey's
on
clipped a whole
replay
bunch of, yeah. What were you saying,
just-
Brian? I heard you.
I was saying like that episode
So bad.
drove me to drink, and if that's not
It did.
telling, I don't know what is.
Dempsey clipped it like on my clip video from the stream. If you go to the video, Dempsey's gone in there and clipped the times in the video where the downfall of Nerdporeal starts. So you click on the start, dude. You go downhill because it's like, oh crap, what is this? And then you see him trying to get
They
the
were pretty
bottle,
good.
and he does the bottle, and then you click on the next timestamp, and now
That
he's
was
like,
so
he's just
funny.
sitting here
Oh my
looking at the
God.
drink. He sits there looking at the drink, considering. He's like, fuck it, and he
Wait.
downs it, and then he's
Wait.
drunk.
So this is on Dempsey's channel, or this
no,
is
it's on my channel.
on
Dempsey
your
has-
video,
yeah.
but it's timestamped in the comments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he timestamped it in the comments. It's
Oh,
fucking
shit.
hilarious. It's the greatest. We watched
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
We watched it
man.
on my member stream. It was
Okay.
fucking
All
priceless.
I gotta say is, Dempsey, God bless you.
Yeah, thank
Yep.
yeah.
It was
absolutely.
pretty good. It was pretty good. I need to start tuning in to this. Even if you guys are ahead of me in episodes, I need to tune in just to see Nerdporeal
It's
just
funny. I had
slamming
fun.
back shots
It
of
was
Johnny Walker Red. Like
Dude, it was the
just-
funniest thing ever.
Johnny Walker
because
barbecue.
yeah, there
This
you go.
was gross.
It
This is
was
what I
the
have
fun-
left. This is what I have left. I have Jameson Irish whiskey.
Jameson
There we
is
go.
good.
That's good.
Bull
That's respectable stuff.
Bull
Bullet.
Lights bourbon, according
It's
to the
Bullet,
way this
yeah.
is pronounced.
Bullet's
Light
good.
bourbon,
Bullet's good.
Crown Royal,
Okay.
and this sweet stuff called rum chata, which I don't know why I bought.
Check it was episode 5 of the peripheral. I have it on my channel, but
Yeah.
it's the funniest. That one moment, I laughed my ass off so hard because he's literally just sitting there looking at his glass, and he's like,
It was so
he's like,
funny.
do I
caught
do it?
after
Do I
got
do
off
it?
work.
And then he's just like,
He's just
he does it like 3 times, and then he's like, okay, fuck it, gone. And then
It's
he's
like-
gone
it's
for
like-
the rest of the episode.
I was like freaking.
And
I was like freaking John Belushi in Animal House. He just drinks the whole bottle of Jack Daniels and then throws it.
I'm sitting there
Thanks,
thinking
I
of the
needed
Emperor in
that.
episode 3. Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Yeah, it's priceless.
I have to admit though, I'm actually not feeling too bad. I had three things I had three things today, and I think I'm doing pretty
That's
good.
good.
Pips.
You're getting ready
I'm
for.
getting ready for.
You're a proper white cloak, Nerdporeal.
I'm gonna
Well, I
turn
gotta
you
say,
into.
Getting ready for
I'm
the
gonna
drunk
turn you
stream
into
here.
an alcoholic yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sleep well. No thanks to
Yeah.
a peanut butter and jelly drink. That's
peanut
all I
butter
gotta say.
jelly.
That
drink.
Thank
sounds.
God
Butter
for
jelly
homebrew.
So okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
so that will be, so yeah, Pipsy, we'll have to plan this. We'll have to figure out a good time to plan this. So
We might have Mags involved too now, so we might have some stuff going.
Yeah,
she
she's fucking off
wants
the
to.
hook.
She
fun.
I'll
wants
have to
in.
think. We'll have to think of besides the drinks. We'll have to think of shit to talk about and everything. So
Donuts.
I'm
Don't
sorry.
worry.
You don't think that us drunk philosophers that we are will be able to fill the time?
I think we probably can. I think we can. Just I'd have to figure that out and everything. So things going on with me. So the streaming has pretty much been. I mean, yeah. So streaming is I'm gonna probably do some streaming and after Thanksgiving. Christmas season's coming up. I want to do something similar that I did with Serial Horror Sessions, but with Christmas movies this time. And so you may or may not be getting an invite from me or DM from me saying,
can I call dibs? Can I call dibs on a movie now?
Absolutely.
Greatest Christmas movie of all time, Die Hard.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
All right, Die
Let's
Hard.
do
Die
it.
Hard is a
Die Hard.
Christmas movie. Yes.
Die Hard.
Which Die Hard? Isn't Die Hard 2 during Christmas too?
Yeah,
I don't know. I think they
I
all
don't
are.
know.
Yeah.
Except for the 4th of July one.
A Vengeance
which,
isn't. Die Hard for the Vengeance isn't Christmas.
Yeah,
is it?
yeah.
No, it's not Christmas. No. I think the second one. I think the Die Hard 2 was also Christmas. I think. Die Hard.
Yeah, there weren't any more Die Hards after that though, were there? There's just the two. There's just the two Die
No,
Hards.
Die Hard with a Vengeance is good. What are you talking about?
Right, yeah,
good.
the third one's pretty good.
There's
The
another
rest,
Gruber.
Okay,
It's better-
yeah,
it's
you know
better
what?
than
Honestly,
two.
actually, yeah, the whole like New York sort of
Yeah.
bank thing, like it was okay.
Ben-
that
the
was
series
that was
ends.
good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Compared
the series
to
ends
compared to
after
Die
that.
Hard 2.
Okay.
Die Hard,
Yeah.
1, 3.
Die Hard 2 versus
2,
Die Hard
probably.
3.
Three,
I'll allow
easy.
it. I was drunk and not thinking straight. And Steve straightened me out. He
There you
straightened
go.
me out.
Silver one.
I will allow it. But Die Hard 1 is definitely a Christmas movie.
Oh, yeah,
100%.
absolutely. No argument.
I was in Saigon, bitch. Yeah, and I was in 7th grade, dickhead. That. Oh, that's a great movie. I love Die Hard.
Yeah.
I remember. I think I was like 4 or 5 years old. I remember like my parents were watching it on cable, and I was watching it with them somehow. I don't know how I was watching it, but I remember seeing like him being separated from his wife. And one of the things that I, as a kid, maybe the movie American Tail kind of did this to me. I always felt as a young child, I always felt very sensitive when family members, loved ones get separated and everything. That was something that always really, I don't know, always affected me. So
I'm with you there, brother. I'm with you there.
Yeah, something. I don't know if it was American Tail that did that to me, because in that movie, Five-O gets separated from his family throughout the whole movie, and his journey is to
like that,
find
like,
them in America and everything. So
Jordan Peele movie, the second one he made, I can't think of what it was called, but like the kid gets separated from her family at like a horror attraction, and that freaked me out because I had fears of that as a kid.
So not a fan of Home Alone franchise?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Home Alone's a good Christmas movie too.
Oh, me? I did a Home Alone video. I did a Home
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 Alone.
Alone 2 has Donald Trump in it. Come on.
Dude, Trading
That's
Places
true.
is also
Too.
a Christmas movie. To fight me on
Trading
that too.
Trading Places is a Christmas movie.
Hell yeah,
Gremlins
it
is a
is.
Christmas movie.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
I think I know who I'm
All right,
gonna
we're
do.
not gonna
I think
find many arguments
I
here.
think I know who I'm gonna do Gremlins with, because
You should make that your theme. You should do all of the Christmas movies that are known for
Debatable.
like being a Christmas movie. So you have to pick Christmas movies that aren't about Christmas but are still Christmas movies. That has to
like
be
Gremlins and Die Hard.
Yes,
Like Die Hard's
yes.
like, is it a Christmas movie? Yes.
I always
yeah.
watch Gladiator
gets-
when I'm decorating.
That
my
has to
Christmas tree.
be
Who gets Violent Night Oh wait, sorry, nobody's gonna watch that movie.
Oh, the one with David Harbour, that one.
Yes,
Die Hard, but with Santa Claus or something.
some stupid movie.
That's
I don't
pretty
know.
much what I saw it as. It's Die Hard with Santa Claus or something.
Santa Claus is gonna go around killing
Yay.
people. Yay!
Yay!
Aldan wants to put forward Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Mean Girls. That's a Christmas movie too.
Is it? I don't know. I don't watch much Mean Girls. So. Maybe it's an Australian thing.
So, all right. So the next stream Fry of the World will be 2 weeks from now. If you guys are available, I don't know. 2 weeks from now is Thanksgiving weekend. So, are you guys? Can you guys do it?
I don't
good.
really
Sunday?
celebrate Thanksgiving, so.
I'll be around. I'm okay.
Uh,
What is it? I broke out Dan here. I don't know what the Mean Girls comment has broken you. Sorry, I'll be available. I think.
You'll be available.
Yep,
I think
I'm
so.
here.
I think so.
Okay.
Me too.
Yeah.
Just let me know.
That Sunday ends my whole November, so I should make pretty good time after that.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Oh wait,
I'm
are
gonna
we
be-
doing?
I'm
are
gonna
we,
be eating. I'm gonna be eating plenty of turkey because I love turkey. So sorry, Pips. I'm a
Are
big
we doing
turkey
a?
Sorry,
guy, and stuffing makes the meal. So yeah,
Yes,
It's
all
like-
the other things that aren't turkey makes it good. The
Dude.
turkey is
turkey. I mean, turkey's
My-
okay. It's a good.
My
Okay.
wife's
Turkey
sage
is
stuffing.
good.
you're just like
Shut up,
Yeah,
Ham.
turkey, but just like turkey without gravy. It's like really. I mean,
Yeah.
can I like?
yeah.
Do you want turkey
My
without gravy?
my
Not really.
wife's
No,
sausage
absolutely.
sage stuffing is freaking off the charts. Awesome.
I don't know.
All
if
right,
I've
so
ever-
I'm
I've
having
never made
Thanksgiving at Nate's
sausage.
house.
What you've never ate?
Right.
You've never made
Smoked
sausage?
turkey and sausage
So,
sage stuffing.
I make a
Just
sage. I don't know
send
if
me
I
the
put-
address and I'll be there.
I
I
make.
think I'm gonna cook up some squash and make a squash bisque for me and my brother because we don't like to hang out with our family. So
Yeah,
What do
I make a white bread. Make a white bread stuffing with all the typical spices. Your sage, rosemary, thyme,
And butter
poultry
jelly.
seasoning, everything.
There's this
Celery,
stuff-
onions, butter. Yeah, you name it. And what I do is I put the fat of the turkey into the stuffing before, and at least the stuff that doesn't fit into the turkey. So I actually stuff the
bird.
turkey. I stuff the bird.
Stuff the bird. Get it right up in there.
So
Yep,
you have
right in
actual
there.
stuffing, not
Chicken
dressing.
and-
I use this
Well,
stuff
there's
called.
stuffing and there's dressing because the stuff because I
Yep.
make a lot of it, so the stuff that
Yep.
stays out is the dressing and the stuff that goes.
See,
in the turkey
I use this
is the
stuff called.
stuffing. So the
shit.
dressing I try to replicate by putting the fat of the bird into the dressing to make it taste like it was in the bird. If you know what I mean. So
I use this stuff called.
Good shit.
I
Yeah,
use this
something my
stuff.
father-
It comes in a box. It's called
Come on.
stovetop.
Never heard of it.
It's
Never
so
heard of it. It
easy.
sounds
You-
gross and
you put it in
disgusting
some-
and
You
fake
put
and
it in some butter water and then
sounds
yum.
gross.
Steve, that sounds like some dark
that
friend
shit is
shit.
like that shit is
Walk
beneath
in
me.
the light, Steve. Walk in
Butter.
the light.
You just get some butter water. You just get you get a full thing of butter. You just throw it in the water and it boils, and then you put the stuff
love
in there,
this.
and then you have stuffing.
Well, San
love
Francisco
water.
treat. Ding ding.
I love this.
This is this is what-
Nerdporeal is making the same face right now that I make when he talks about drinking Johnny Walker Red Label.
This is why I don't.
Johnny,
cook.
it's Johnny Walker
I-
barbecue. Come on,
This
get
is
with
why
it.
I don't cook. I get to eat it and help clean up. I don't cook Thanksgiving dinner most of the time, so because I just use box stuffing, butter water. Have you noticed butter water like makes all kinds of things? It makes potatoes, it makes stuffing, it makes au
noodles.
gratin tomatoes, it makes noodles.
It makes angel hair pasta. I know.
Who
I know
knew-
exactly what you're talking
Who knew
about.
that butter and water could be so
Roscaroni
amazing?
Is the only thing. right?
Sorry, we're getting way off track here, but butter water.
This
who
is
would
an Eye of the
know?
World stream, right?
Yeah.
I was
Butter
gonna-
water.
yeah, I was
Hey, you
about
guys
to say
started.
this
You guys were
wheel
drunk
of
like 2
time, right?
minutes in, so I don't know.
So what I'm thinking of doing, and this is if you guys can do it, I was thinking, I'm probably going to be done with the book by the time we do our next stream. So I was thinking, 2 more streams after this. So there will be a part 4. So
I'm
we're
good.
going to cover 31 chapters 31 through 41 or 42 or something, and then the week after we'll cover the rest of the book.
Because I'll
Would
keep
that
reading,
work?
I'm like, my
Yeah.
favorite
Dude,
thing was
there's
13.
There is so much that happens, especially like the last 9 chapters.
I should probably
It
read
actually
it. Yeah.
should be a dedicated stream.
I should
Yeah.
probably, I
There's
should probably
just
get
so
caught
much.
up and read it.
That was my recommendation. That from the ways to the end is it's only a few chapters, but like that's a bite-sized chunk there.
Yeah, I should probably read
Yeah.
it just so I know. Oh, I'll have an
Dark One Stirs chapter is just chock full of so much badassery.
So, and just
Yeah,
just before,
I know.
just before we finish, anybody that knows the donut lore, in about 10 minutes there'll be a new emoji on my channel. Nas has already seen it. Mags isn't here, but that was for you, Mags. You'll see it.
All right.
Oh,
Speaking of emojis, if you become a Nerdporeal
Yes.
member, you know you can hit the join button, and you can use some of the new emojis that I made. Like there's a Godporeal emoji now. There's a Nerdporeal flamethrower emoji. It looks like shit because it's a 1x1, but it's still there. So you should definitely check that out. And I think I put in a few others. So yeah, so check those out and everything. So, so Tuesday, I believe Steve, you and I'm going to actually start playing an old school Super Nintendo game called Breath of Fire, an RPG with fire and dragons and probably some blood too, even though it's 16-bit. You'll probably don't see anything. So, so that's we're gonna start that on Tuesday evening. And then the other big stream I'm going to be doing is actually going to be the night before Thanksgiving. So if you guys are awake late Wednesday night, me and two or three of my friends in real life are going to be talking planes, trains, and automobiles because that's the best and only Thanksgiving movie that I know of. You agree? You guys agree?
It's a great damn movie.
It is a great freaking movie. I love it.
You're fucked.
What?
You're just quoting the movie.
Oh yeah, I was like, okay. I was like, okay.
Sorry, that's the alcohol talking.
I was to say you can't just quote an expletive.
Yes, you can.
It's like if I just said asshole and then I was like, yeah, from Spaceballs. You get the reference.
Now, come
right?
on. Planes, trains, and automobiles, and having the phrase "you're fucked." That's pretty obvious.
Okay, I have to read this for Lady Balefire and for Steve. You know, don't threaten me with pleasure.
That was
Is this following her
Nas
hot D
talking
comment?
about donuts. It was a donut comment.
Gotta get those donuts in.
All right,
You guys are getting me into donut lands. That's bad.
all right. So that's I think this is where we're gonna call it quits. So that was where we got up to chapter 30.
Probably for the best.
Yeah. So Perrin
Done with this
Perrin
conversation 45 minutes ago.
Yeah. So Perrin gets captured. Rand and Matt are on their own. Egwene is captured too. What the hell are Moraine and the rest of them doing? Are they going to be captured? Are they going to be spotted by Dark Friends? What's going to happen next? Find out next time on Revisiting Eye of the World. And here is the outro.